Hey everyone, welcome to Hatch Studios. RT Bear here, and we've had a stellar day. We have had a stellar day. Yeah, you guys know this, but I have a campaign. I have a campaign going. It's called Black and White Volume 3, Sins of the Father. And yeah, you guys are rallying. You guys are coming to my aid. You guys are the heroes of the hour, and Black and White's doing really well today. We are going to be closing down late tomorrow, I believe. Pamela and I were looking into how all this stuff, the shutdown stuff works. It says midnight. It says midnight is when Indiegogo cuts it down, but it flips over on the screen on the site between noon and 4 o'clock my time, which is Central Texas time. And it's really strange. It's really strange. So I believe if everything goes well, cross your fingers, we're going to be doing a big closeout stream on Ethan Van Sciver's Comics Pro Secrets channel tomorrow night. And hopefully we will get a bunch of backers and get a bunch of support for this this very important, it's important to me, campaign. So I'm going to show this thing off real quick while I'm waiting for the guys to get here. So this is Sins of the Father, you guys. This is the reason for the season. This is a Black and White Volume 3. So Volume 3 and 4 are the two parts for the Sins of the Father storyline. And we're doing the same thing that we did with the Man versus Machine storyline, where that was two volumes. This is going to be 2 volumes as well, 64 pages each. Hopefully we can contain it all in 64 pages. We will see. Excuse me. This is an epic story. They're back for another epic adventure of family and betrayal. That would be Black and White. So you guys, just before I came on here, set all this stuff up, we turned this sucker over to 24K. Thank you so very much. So that's 24,144, 334 backers. We are officially getting into cool ass beans territory with this campaign. So at this point, I will be able to pretty much pay for everything, which will be great. Printing, remember, shipping comes out of that, and some of the artists I've had. I have a breakdown artist, Alan Patrick. And I have a writer that's working with me, which is Aaron Sparrow. So, and then, of course, we got a second book, which I have to pay for as well, which is the Pedro Ng High Octane 2 Electric Boogaloo book. So I'm going to play this video real quick before I get the guys in here. Yeah. Yeah, you guys, 30 years, Black and White has been around, and it originally came out, Image Comics. Extreme was the studio where I did the artwork at, and that was 30 years ago. 1994 was the year that this dynamic duo was created, and it has been an obsession of mine every since. So I'm gonna kind of move through the campaign real quick just to give you guys an introduction. But the main thing I want to show is the new cover. The D cover did drop yesterday, and that is helping us get across the finish line. Like I said, tomorrow night is supposed to be it for this campaign. This is a labor of love, you guys. I'm putting everything I have into it. These characters are so bombastic, so freaking cool. I can't wait to share this story with you. I got to finish it first, but yeah, like I said, Aaron Sparrow is working with Pamela and I on the writing. We got Alan Patrick doing the breakdowns. I have showed you a couple live streams where I show Alan's work and kind of how Alan and I work together to make these pages happen. And then, of course, Brian A. Mag, who is the brilliant colorist on this book. And yeah, it is 64 pages, and you're going to want this in your catalog of comic books. And then we have the High Octane. It is back, baby. This is volume 2. This is the Pedro Ang story. This is kind of Pedro's book. This is his baby. So just like last time, this is the second volume. We did volume 1 with a man versus machine campaign. It did very, very well, you guys. So I asked Pedro if he would be willing to come back and try it again, and he did. So like last time, like with Von Klaus, who wrote the first issue, I just had an idea and I kind of pitched it to him and we brainstormed. And so I did the same thing with Pedro, and Pedro just took it and ran with it. So Pedro's writing this. He is actually crafting this story, as well as drawing, inking, and coloring this bad boy. So this is pretty much a Pedro Ang production. So I do appreciate that. Pedro is a badass mofo, and I love working with him, and I really dig his style. Look at this. This is some of the interior pages, this cool animation style. I'm really flattered. I'm really flattered. It's neat to see other people's take on my characters. And that's what Pedro did here. Look at that. Killer. And so, yeah, you guys, I've been teasing for, most of the campaign 4 jaw-dropping covers, but you've only seen 3 of them until yesterday when we dropped the D. Yeah, we dropped the D cover, which is the John Malin cover. He comes in at the 11th hour and kicks all kinds of ass. So we got 2 guest artists on this campaign. So we have Carlo Barberi and we have the great John Malin lending their brilliance to this campaign. So back both of these covers, back all 4 of these covers, you guys. You can't go wrong. The story is incredible. I love these characters. This is going to be action-packed adventure. We got supernatural. We got robots. We got all kinds of cool stuff. We got 2 new big bads. We got the immortal Lord Fakin, and then we have the voodoo priestess Technomancer, which is a Juju Juliet. And then, of course, we got Reed Blackett, a.k.a. Black, and Whitney Sung, a.k.a. White, up to their necks in Undead. Yeah. So here's the Carlo Barberi cover in a bigger size so you can see it better. And then, of course, the John Malin cover. You guys, you can't go wrong with any of these. But if you haven't backed the John Malin, please do so. It is also as an add-on. So you can get it in its own tier or you can get it in an add-on. It isn't in compiled or grouped with any of the other tiers because we got the artwork so late in the campaign and launched it so late in the campaign that we didn't have really a chance to do that. But you know what? I mean, it's kind of like this cool energy that it brings to the campaign. And I do thank John Malin so much for adding his talents to this campaign. He's a kick-ass dude, and I appreciate it. And so he said this. I said, hey, John, can you do a cover for the campaign? He said, sure. And I said, how much do you charge? And he said, for you, nothing. He said, let's just do a trade. So I'm going to do a Godlike cover, which I'm looking forward to for the next campaign. And John did this fantastic cover for us. for black and white. V3, Sins of the Father. So also, you guys, you can get some originals here. We got the covers available. We got some interiors. And also we have this Juju 11x17 full bleed print that you can get in the Jam campaign. Also, stretch goals, you guys. We hit the 20K stretch goal, which is this commemorative 30th anniversary black and white trading card. But man, we are closing in on this 25K. So 30th anniversary, a sticker. It sounds like, oh, well, it's a sticker. No, it's a cool ass die cut sticker. If you guys have backed any of the Hack Shack Comics campaigns in the past, you know our stretch goals are freaking killer. So it's not just going to be a sticker. It's going to be a kick-ass sticker. And how can you go wrong celebrating 30 years of black and white? All right, man. Well, yeah, I wanted to plug this right off the bat. We're running out of time. So I really, I want to give you guys as much time to get in here and back one of these books. We are at 334 backers and we have 2 days left. So time is running out. So I'm going to come back and see. Oh, we got him. We got him. We got a full house here. So we got Leg Kick, who is usually the first guy in. Well, he's one of them. Libations. We got Pork Hunt. That John Malin cover is fire. What other campaigns is Pedro working on? Well, we'll ask him when he comes in. I know he's got some creative things that he's doing. And also, he's really putting a lot of time in his animation. But we're going to get into that because one of the things we're going to talk about is mentorships. And I do believe that Pedro has had a mentorship in animation. So Pork Hunt says, hey, Art, you gave us your planned plots for Batman and the Green Hornet. Will you stream one day about your Nightwing pitch? I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, I'll talk about the Nightwing pitch tomorrow. How's that for fan service? Yeah, we'll get Pedro in. Pedro can talk about it. We got Rob Hunter. Who is that? Just the most amazing talent that comics could offer you. Amazing guy. Inker extraordinaire, and now storyteller. Penciler, storyteller, writer. I love the triple threats, and Rob Hunter is that. Will the campaign be going in demand? Yes, but I want to. It's so weird because there's a lot of guys that pretend like, oh, it's not going to go in demand or whatever. But I want to be honest with you guys. Like, one thing I did with this campaign also is I didn't do 30 days and go, oh, we're going to close in 30 days and then go, oh, no, we're going to extend it another 30 days. Because I think you guys have seen all this stuff in the past. So I wanted to kind of bypass some of the shenanigans. So it was just a 60-day campaign straight out. And then with the in-demand thing, the importance of this is that the campaign, the live campaign, does close down. So those total numbers, those go up right on top. So if you do low numbers, it doesn't look as impressive. And let's face it, I mean, people respond to winners. That's why I'm a winner. And that's why you respond to me. So the higher we can get those numbers up, the better it looks. And then people are more attracted to the higher numbers. So that's why the live aspects of the campaign are very important. So I know sometimes funds are tight, things like that, and in demand is good for that. But I want to encourage all you guys to get in tonight, tomorrow, and back these so we can get that total up higher, because it does really help make the campaign look good. But yeah, it will be going in demand. It's going to take me a year to put this book together, so it will be in demand for quite a while. And also, excuse me, Pamela and I launched this thing in a bad month. We were going to launch it earlier, but things just got complicated. So the momentum just went right into November. So we launched it in November, knowing that, November is an okay month, but it's going to go into December. And December is kind of just flatline. So with the economy and Christmas and all that stuff, it was a tough campaign. I won't lie to you guys, but you guys turned it around and turned it into a success, I must say. So we got Edwin Buzz, hail peeps. So let's get, without further ado, let's get the guys in here, the pontificators, so they can pontificate and talk about their mentor stories. Pedro.
Whoa.
You're on, baby. Come on.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Wrong. I was on the wrong screen. I was watching just your face. Can you hear me all right?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Art. The whole thing about going 30 days in 30 days, it's not for the people, it's for the algorithm. That's why people do it. Like, you have to trick the algorithm to promote more. That's more of like an Indiegogo thing. That's why they did
but
it.
you got to sell it to the people, so it starts
Yeah.
feeling weird. Like, oh, we're going to close it down at 30. I understand the algorithm because, like Indiegogo, they'll go, oh, well, they're starting up again, so then they kind of act like it's a new campaign. All that.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you will being honest and open with people. Like, I don't think that's like a problem with you. Like, oh, here's Tricky T Bear again. Like, that's not...
he's gonna screw us over again.
Yeah. Like,
but the thing is, like, we got to be honest. Nothing against Indiegogo, but I'm not sure how much Indiegogo is really contributing. They have these numbers, that they show you. I'm sure you've seen them, with some of your campaigns.
Yeah.
And they claim like, oh well, 30% of your campaign came from Indiegogo or whatever it is. It's like, I don't think so. Poppycock, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, on that poppycock, let's get another guy in. He looks like he's up to his neck in fur balls. What's going on there? Oh, there we go. We got Rob Hunter.
Speaking of winner, this is what we call winner. That would be will it focus? I don't think it'll focus. That's what we call 1 and 2 set digital royalties.
Oh,
so we couldn't see the numbers. What are they like? 90 cents?
No. Gross amount 1 cent. Gross amount 12 cents. Gross amount 6 cents. Gross amount 2 cents. Now it did add up to $16. That's winner. $16 in digital royalties for Marvel Comics. I put that in the win column.
Yeah.
Every day.
Well, you know what? At least you're getting those.
Yeah.
Those sons of bitches, I contacted them years ago and gave them my new address. I haven't got a royalty from Marvel in years.
Oh, well, you just need to contact who probably the new person in the royalty department. I will actually forward you their information because think of all the times that they've reprinted the your not absolute run, but your Finch run with the X-Men and your run with Mark Bagley. There's a lot of money that they owe you.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I like I said, I sent them
Ultimate.
emails in the past.
Ultimate.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, but it's really bizarre. I think I talked to somebody on the phone too. I emailed them and I talked to somebody on the phone and they said, yeah, and I think he said, oh, we've been sending those. And I go, no, you haven't, because I haven't got a royalty from you for years. And like you said, Rob, it doesn't make any sense because those books are getting at least digitally, put up. And
plus all of your all your X stuff that always gets put in another omnibus.
Maybe.
No, it does because even my shit, like the X-Band stuff and the things I worked on, which were later, that gets reprinted over and over again in big fat books. Like I'll get here's $4 for 4 pages of X-Men that crossed over with. Remember the big mental character, and Reed Richards' son was like powering him or whatever.
MODOK?
No, Shadow King or some shit like that.
I know who you're talking. I think it was Shadow King. Yeah.
Shadow King.
Yeah. So they're always reprinting that. If they reprint that crap, then they're definitely reprinting.
I got a year's run on Fantastic Four. I got the Ultimate. Yeah, I got all the 90s X-Men stuff. I got the Pacheco stuff in the early 2000s. It's crazy. So I don't know. Yeah, give me that contact. I'll look into it, and then maybe I should actually look into possibly if I don't get any satisfaction, look into a lawyer because it's been at least 4 years.
It's an auditor. You need you need one specifically. You know, if you talk to Jimmy Palmiotti, he'll tell you exactly who you have to do, what you have to do, because he had to do it himself, and because he did so much work during the boom.
Yeah,
he actually. The auditor has to go to Marvel and they have to go through the books, and then they say that, well, this is how much Marvel owes you.
So it's going to be more than a trip to McDonald's, right?
Oh, it was a lot of, well, I mean, he was ripping through pages back then.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was working on a bunch of the X titles. He was working with Quesada.
Yeah.
He was doing all that. What was there called Marvel Knights stuff that he was doing? Yeah, so he's got a pretty good little track record there.
Well, his
think
Marvel Knights deal was different. He actually got a certain amount of pennies for every book that was printed. So that's how him and Joe made as much money as they did, because they were like producers.
So they got paid off of like sales one on the book, like a certain amount. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. You know that Marvel were feeling real desperate when they made a deal like that.
Yeah. Well, they were looking into, like the Image Comics guys, like they were, like people start talking like, Marvel and DC are probably going to start, getting somebody else to publish their books and things. It's like they've been trying this stuff for 20 years, yeah, maybe longer, because that, remember the Marvel, what was that called? Reborn?
Well, here's Reborn. Rob Liefeld loves to brag about his signing check. He got a signing bonus just to do that. Wow. Like $1.5 million or something crazy.
That's why they did it. It was all the money. I at the time I didn't like it because I knew that there was a deal on the table that basically Marvel. Are you okay?
I go to put my cup down. My cat had just
there's a cat right there. Yeah.
And he looked at me like he's all pissed off at me.
He's all pissed now. He's gonna pee on your bed.
How dare you?
Gonna leave a present. But the thing is, there was gonna be a big old Image crossover. There's gonna be a huge Image crossover, and so Harris comes to the Image guys and says, "Hey, let's do this big old Heroes, Reborn or whatever it was." And you guys can do anything you want with the Marvel characters. Who do you want? What do you want to do? And those guys, they didn't see it like I saw it as like, well, Marvel is weak right now. That's why they're going to you, because they know they're going to get their asses kicked for that summer. As soon as that Image crossover event happens, Marvel is just going to get their butts kicked. But instead of doing that, those guys caved and went, let's get some quick money, from Marvel, and they got their ego stroked. And I believe it was the beginning of the end of Image Comics, actually.
Well, didn't the sales had already started to decline dramatically by the time they said yes to Heroes Reborn?
Let me see. The numbers were going down, but I don't think it was drastic, because what was Heroes Reborn? Was that 95?
Yeah, so 92, 93, 94, 95 books were still like the number one book might sell 800,000 copies, and then it dropped off like the average was 250, 200.
Oh my God.
But I think the Image books were
in 96. 96 is where those numbers ended. But 95, I believe, it was more of a gradual decline. And then years in, boom, because we launched Black and White Codename, the ongoing. Yeah. I do believe it was either the end of 95 or early 96. And by then, I think we did, by today's standards, it would be amazing. We did 300 and something. I think it was 370 for issue one.
Which would have been a monster hit. The last time a DC Marvel book sold that was the Gears of War. Sharp drew.
But we couldn't make it work because everybody was charging a bunch of money. I mean, Jaime I was paying him 300, something like that a page, and he was killing it. I mean, it was great looking stuff. So I don't regret it, but that, and then film output. Remember, you had to have film output. That was like $100 a page. Coloring was expensive. Like all the production stuff was really expensive. So once you do that, and then like number 2 numbers drop, and then 3 drops from there, and maybe 4 could go up, but that's a real crapshoot. So we just didn't do it. I remember Larry Motter saying, like you could save money if you just did black and white in black and white. And I'm like, at the time, that was a major kiss of death. Can you imagine an Image comic being published in black and white?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I know. That would have been, people would have been like, what the F is this?
What's happening?
Comic book stores would,
no,
they wouldn't even touch the orders.
Because part of the magic was the coloring, right? I mean, because that was the birth of the digital coloring and all that stuff. So it would have been like
all those guys. Yeah.
What's that, Pedro?
Comic Craft and all those guys, right? At that time.
Comic Craft was the lettering. It was kind of Oli Optics. It was like Steve Olive, who we had. He was doing the coloring on black and white. And who were the other big studios? They had each Image Studio, right? They had their own colorists. Like Top Cow had their own guys. Yeah, Wildstorm had their own guys, and of course Extreme had their own guys. Yeah, in-house.
There's a lot of competition there too, because I remember when Top Cow at one point had the best coloring, but before that, it really was like it would bounce between Extreme and Wildstorm, and then Spawn always had who was it? Oli Optics.
Steve Oli Optics.
Yeah. They always had Steve coloring it.
Yeah, and I think Steve started that revolution because Spawn was the first one that actually did the digital coloring.
He should have tried to trademark the process. So even today, you'd get $1 every time someone does digital colors on every page. Yeah.
Well, Steve had the studio. He had the whole system down, and I think what ended up being the kiss of death for Oli Optics was that it was some kind of computer program. He had all this money invested in some kind of old technology, and that was like the banding. Like they couldn't do fades. Because if you remember, all that was kind of an illusion. So they were like cuts, and then the cuts would kind of make like a fade or could fade into colors, different colors. And so it was really tricky. So that's kind of how they did it. And so, everybody else started kind of kicking their butt. But I remember talking to Steve, and he said, I can't afford, all new computer system. I just can't afford that. So they kind of became a dinosaur just because they couldn't keep up, which is a shame because Steve is brilliant.
I kind of wondered what the deal was, because he has posted on social media some of his hand painted stuff. And I expected them to remind me more of like the Spawn coloring and then going, oh wait, yeah, there's a big. For one, the technology is so different, and for two, he's hand painting it anyway. Yeah. So he's not.
That's the thing about being on the cutting edge, man. I remember I was working for this Canadian company back in 2002 called DigiScreen, and they were going to revolutionize like cinema in the sense that there's going to be no more film; it's just going to be like digitized. And then Netflix came about.
I watched an interview, and it was the firm that did all the CGI for Stargate, the TV show.
Yeah,
and they had above them, it was a tiny little studio of like 4 guys, and above them on the wall, they would stab all the proprietary CDs software that would come in and for 1 year be like, oh, this is the new amazing CGI tech. Yeah. And they said, they're like, some of those CDs on the ceiling, they were $100,000 when we first bought them. And he goes, and now they're just sticking on the ceiling. We pinned them to the ceiling just to show off, like, in like 10 years, the dramatic shift of CGI and how insanely different it went. So I imagine if that was CGI, then the same thing was happening in the comic books with all the digital and, like you said, Art, the production, because now production is nothing on the computer. We had to do our own production where we had to scan in our own pages and format them and stuff.
That was bullshit, man. That was bullshit. I still yell foul on that. Like I kind of cut myself a decent deal, but I had to fight and scream. And I was one of the first ones that was asked to do it. And I was one of the last ones to actually adopt it. And DC gave me a pretty generous offer to convert over. I already had a lot of the technology, but it just kind of irked me because, Rob, we've been doing this long enough. We remember that production used to do these things. And now they were asking us to do them, and they weren't compensating us for the extra work.
Oh yeah, I didn't get shit. I didn't get jack shit. All I was just trying to be a good little soldier.
Yeah, I remember having the conversation with Norm Ratman, and Norm was like, well, why wouldn't you do it? And I'm like, it's a principal thing. I mean, this is a job. This is, like if your boss asks you to do extra work, you should be compensated, especially since we're like independent contractors, right?
Yeah.
We don't have any medical or any kind of like job security. So why wouldn't we fucking fight tooth and nail for every dime?
You didn't have medical with DC?
Well, I've had different contracts, so I've had exclusives. Yeah. But early at DC, they did have insurance. You didn't have to be exclusive or whatever. Yeah. They just had like group plans, and then you could buy into the plan, and you could get a discount because there's so many people, right? And that was the best. I had dental and I had visual, so that stuff was killer, man. But then you had, later you had to sign an exclusive.
That's when I got it with the exclusive. But I got lucky. By the time they were phasing out the insurance, my wife was like, "Hey, we're married. I could just put you on the plan and it'd be cheaper." So I was like, "Oh, okay, awesome," because it was expensive. The DC stuff, at least for a single guy, the insurance was kind of expensive. But man, I still miss DC because they were so cool to me. I remember sending an email to Dan DiDio and going, Dan, I go, you guys still aren't taking my insurance out of my check. I go, so it's going to be a real kick in the ass if, 6 months down the road, you just take out 6 months of insurance out of whatever check. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. Just like that. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I mean, that was great. It was great working with Dan.
Yeah, I think he respects honesty. I had a similar thing where he personally was overseeing that Batman Geyer. That's the Kevin Smith. What was it? Walter Flanagan fiasco. And so Dan was overseeing. He was going to be the editor on the book. He realized it was turned into a cluster. So he bailed out and gave it. He gave it to Mike Martz or something.
Of course he did.
Yeah, and so I remember because I had to audition, right? Because Kevin Smith, said this, and I said, I don't do this. I've never done this, and you know what I can do. He goes, I know. He said, I'll pay you a bunch of money to do it, right? So I did a one-off page. I got paid a bunch of money, and so then it got okayed by those guys, both of those guys. And so as the book progressed, I think they started seeing like Walter less and less. But I was paid to do that. Like I got a great paid rate to do. It wasn't officially called finishes, but it was kind of like embellishes stuff. It's a special page rate. And so then anyways, it went bad. It went south. And so Mike Martz didn't back my play. He said, just do whatever they want. I said, okay. And so then I called the DO and I said, that rate that you gave me, I said, I'm not doing the same amount of work anymore. So I feel I should just go back to my basic page rate. And he did the same thing like you, Robbie. He's just like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I always liked work with Mike Martz because he was the Batman editor.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the biggest fan of his choices. Like, it always seemed like when he was going to pick up the Image guys, it was like because he kind of knew Dan would want the Image guys on the Batman stuff. But whenever he had a choice, a lot of the Batman stuff was always, I'm like, oh man, that's, you guys, why are you letting Tony Daniel ink himself like crap? Remember when Tony Daniel was inking himself with like a tree branch on Batman. You're like, what are you doing? Why are you letting him do that?
Because you had Bat. Remember, Matt Banning was inking him on some of that stuff. Man, that looked fantastic.
Yes, it was. So it was always weird. Like Mike always had like a weird European. He liked some of the European artists. So it was almost like he knew he had to accept the Image guys or the Image style, like the Ed Bennis and those type of things. But the moment he could get rid of Ed Bennis, he made sure he got rid of Ed Bennis. And I remember thinking, well, just coddle Ed a little more because he does amazing Batman. You know, who else are you gonna get? And instead, they started shoving like Vertigo guys onto a lot of those books.
Well, that Ed Bennis Justice League, was it Sandra Hope that was inking him? It was brilliant. They weren't giving him anything to draw. It was just a bunch of talking heads. That was a drag. I guess they got some prestigious writer. What was
Brian Meltzer?
Yeah. And he's a cool dude and all. And my wife has read some of his stuff and she likes it. But man, that comic book stuff he was writing was just so slow, so boring. I like what you said on, I think it was the Kings the other night, where you're like, it's TV writing. You know, it's paced out like it's
TV budget.
Yeah, and TV budget and all that stuff. And I completely agree. Like it's just kind of like eating up film time, right? You know, that's what TV shows feel like, you know.
Well, you will catch, if you watch any of the sci-fi TV shows that are streaming that like only lasted like a year, you can tell that they were video game plots. Just because of like, oh, look, here comes a new character, and the new character shows up, and there's all this exposition before they fight. You're like, just like a video game. I'm like, you guys can't even take the effort to rewrite and reformat a video game plot for a TV show. You guys are so lazy, you'll just smash it into the exactly. Like, oh, now we have a TV
let me get this. I think this is good and I can answer it. Yeah, poor cunt. Steve was using the color early for the Akira stuff. I think that Epic Line stuff was the first digital coloring, and I still really enjoy that because the colors were more than just like flat colors, but they were simple enough that, because you know all that Zipatone and stuff that Akira had, like you could still see all the textures and stuff through it. So I thought it was a pretty good mash of styles there. But
did he colorize any of that Zipatone effect? Because I didn't see those books.
I don't think he did. I think it was just like the color was over the zip patterns, but he would definitely not obliterate. Like he would use the zip pattern, so he'd follow the patterns. Like could there be a shadow or something like that? So he was definitely following that. And I remember it looked really, really cool. I'm a big fan of all that Akira stuff. Anyway, the movie, the comic book, all that stuff is pretty badass. What you guys want to get into the mentorship? I know that Pedro had an animation mentor. We've talked
several, yeah.
And then Rob was fortunate enough to have a tenure at Hack Shack Studios. So
well, I just had the books. I just had X Factor, Portatio, Cyber X Factor. That was my mentorship.
But yeah, Pedro, I really animation amazes me. And just to back up the mentorship a little bit, just to prep it, on the Kings too, we were talking about all kinds of different stuff. Shane Davis was the host, and I do believe it was Aaron Lepresti that brought up like possibly one of the things that why comics aren't as good, or like an understanding of comics and how to make them and all this other stuff, is because that mentorship, that mentoring is gone.
It's gone
in the industry. Like they just, like the editors don't mentor like before. Like when Rob and I came up the ranks, these editors a lot of times were artists. Or if they weren't, they knew the art form. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they could kind of mentor you just by every day talking to you, working with you, because there's a lot of rules I learned, like the left-right rule, from Mike Carlin. He said, you always have a character, especially if they're running in, you have them come in from the left to the right, because that's how we read. We read from left to right, and it implies movement. So the eye goes that way easier. And if you have the character coming in right to left, then it kind of looks like the character's not as quick or as immediate or whatever. So the eye doesn't read it the same. Because I remember I did a Superman cover. I penciled and inked it, and I had Superman coming in from the right. And he said nay. And so in those days, if you're going to flop it, you had to redraw it. So so I redrew it, the other way. But I learned a valuable lesson. And so there was a lot of stuff like that editors would kind of bring to you, like, maybe think about this, do that. And I remember I silhouetted, because I was doing finishes over Dan Jurgens, I silhouetted the characters in an establishing shot. And I thought it looked really cool, right? And then I thought, well, yeah, so then we could reveal them as the story goes. And he said, and for right or wrong, it could have been just Mike's take on how things should have been. But I do think he was right where he said, you never do that. You need to know who these characters are. You know what I mean? And so what we did is we went back, I whited stuff out, and I gave hints of the character, like certain features where the light was picking up. And so that's how we dealt with it. But just stuff like that would happen. So it makes everybody that's working in the working in the business, kind of, they pass along knowledge, right? That was always happening. And so I know, like, animation was big like that, because there was the 9 Old Men at Disney. And one of the things that Walt was smart enough is, one, he had a school, CalArt, and the other one is he had mentorships for new guys coming in. And so I think Pedro kind of worked that way. So take it away, Pedro.
All right. So, I mean, I have to take you guys back to my school days, because my first interaction with Disney alum was with one of my teachers, Brigitte Paulinen. She was the layout artist for Tarzan, the movie from the 90s. That lady could draw jungle like it was nothing. She just like sit down, like, yeah, whatever. I did this for 4 years. So she was like very soft-spoken. And what she imparted into me, it's, if you're not having fun, you better not do it. In what sense? And,
because you don't get paid much.
No. It's not that you don't get paid much, but it's kind of like a philosophy. Because there are days you really don't want to draw, right? And that's what you like started, like, just painting by the numbers, basically. It's like, yeah, when you get those days, just go back to shapes. You start drawing shapes, whatever. You're drawing like a baobab tree, which is like a very fat tree that goes. Just disassemble that into simple shapes. Concentrate on the shape, and then you're not thinking about, oh, I'm fucking up a baobab. Like, hey, I'm just doing like a really oblong shape. Then you have the tree, and it was something that it blew my mind. Like, I was old for an animation studio, because I was like 25, because I was like in law school before.
And you're still 35.
No, I'm 50, Art. The thing's like,
no, you're not. No, you're not.
Stop. I dress up as a kid, but I'm old, sir. And the thing is, like, that was her. Then I met Danny Antonucci, the director of Ed, Edd n Eddy. I don't know if you guys remember that show. Also from the
guy lived in where was it? It was someplace like one of the beach areas in California. I had a friend that knew him. I had an invite to go talk to the guy.
Yeah,
I love that style, that Ed, Edd n Eddy stuff. Yeah,
that's another guy. He's like
Laguna Beach is where
Laguna Beach. He's an old punk rocker. He plays bass, and he's like, dude, like, I'm not the best artist, but I'm the best artist for my idea. Now, think about that for a second. Like, we as artists, and I see that on forums, and when people like, hey, who's doing that and who's doing what? Everybody's striving to be the best. And that's a great motivator. But at some point, your personality has to flow through, because if not, then you're like a Jim Lee copycat. You know what I mean?
Well, especially if it is like a creator-owned type of idea.
Yeah,
if you're working
exactly.
for a corporation
Mhm.
and it's an established IP, you have to
Yeah.
draw it in that style.
Mhm.
But if it's your own creation, I
Yeah.
mean, because I used to say, and most of like my philosophy was just kind of trial and error. And I would tell people, like, if you're going to create something, the only thing unique that you have to bring to that project is you.
It's you. Yeah, exactly.
That's it. So don't shy away from it. So if you draw a
Mhm.
certain way, it's weird, it's whatever. Don't let people talk you out of it. That's you. You know, that's a
Mhm.
genuine sincerity, and it has integrity because it's not like anybody else. For right or wrong, it's not like
Mhm.
anybody else, and that's what you can bring to these projects. So I
Exactly.
completely agree.
Yeah, and as an animator, like you talk about house styles, like, dude, we have to draw exactly as the project you're presented. So that's something that for me was even harder. Like, remember when we started working together, I asked you a lot of questions, because that's the animator style. What do you want? Where do you want to go with this? And then you gave me all this freedom, and I felt like naked in an island. Like, whoa, wait, what? So that's when I came. Now that's coming. That you're another one of my mentors. Art. I don't. Okay, maybe I'm a little bit like, but you are, because I've never done comics before. I've done like corporate things, like 2-3 pages for a advertising ad, but that's not really making comics. My first like, okay, go dive into the world of comics. It was with you, and I think I pestered you a lot with questions. Like,
No. I bring it on because I feel like it's kind of like what Mike Carlin did for me, or Walter
Mhm.
Simonson did for me early on, and some of these other guys. They weren't necessarily official mentors. You know, it wasn't like
Mhm.
necessarily a studio structure, but there was a lot of mentoring going on
Mhm.
unofficially. So I feel like, also the age I am, like if I can pass down some of that knowledge
Mhm.
Before you die.
before I die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Bob should be here because this definitely spits in the eye of, like, because Bob would always say, you got to
Dude.
show people this, you got to teach people this, you got to show people this.
Mhm.
And I'm like, no, I don't. And
And
now
now
I'm
Bob's not here.
talking but everything I did was past tense.
Yeah.
But if I'm working with somebody like you, Pedro, or whoever else, I mean, it kind of works. It's kind of a self-interest thing as well, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if I can help you or give you kind of some insight on whatever it is, then you can bring that into the work. So then, I'll get to reap the rewards of it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're drawing better or you're doing whatever it is. And so it is kind of like a selfish act as well. So even like an editor, like if they can help, some of their freelancers, then it makes their books look better,
Yeah.
so it does kind of benefit them. So what else, Pedro, what else have you done? Well, because I know you worked with, what's his name, the guy that was on our show.
Oh yeah, Bob Scribner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
script.
Yeah, George Scribner. I met him when I had the animation school, in a sense that, like, he's Panamanian, and I met him to a voluntary theater thing, like community theater, called the Theater Guild of Mancon, that's a theater that existed when the Americans were in Panama, like at the military bases. It was basically like an army theater. When they left, all the expats that stayed kept the theater going. Well, through there, an old lady told me, like, hey, there's a Disney director coming here. Like, he's Panamanian. I was like, wait, what? Disney director? He told me the name. I was like, oh, Ollie and the gang. Okay. And I met him, and he was fascinated with the fact that I had an animation school. Like, wait, you have an animation school in Panama? So he went there. He gave like classes for a month for all the students. I was like, and we kept in contact ever since. Dude, that's the guy who really helped me with my coloring, because he's like an awesome painter. Like, you've seen his work. He's an awesome.
I'm finding some of it now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna post it if I can save it right.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that dude, he's a phone call away. I just like, hey George, just to talk shop. He's very like, and that relationship has been going on for the last 15 years, and I feel blessed that I count him as a friend. And dude, that guy, like, he worked on the Black Cauldron. He worked on the Lion King.
Oliver and Company, right? That's one. Like
he directed that, but
okay.
he was an animator on the Black Cauldron. He was a second unit director in the Lion King. He worked on the Little Mermaid, like the golden age of Disney 2D animation. He was right in the thick of it. And he used to tell me, like, Pedro, you would have fit right in. Like, shut up, George.
he's just ripping into you.
I know. Like, you would have fit right in. Like, shut up, George.
I'm looking for stuff, but it's all attached to other things. I can't find just an image. But yeah, you guys look up George Scribner yourself, and you'll find all kinds of cool stuff. I'm just not able to really download this stuff. But his Wikipedia is pretty killer. Let's see if I can find at least that. Here it is.
Okay, I have one of his paintings right here. Let me just
share
it real quick.
Yeah, I'll read his Wikipedia while we're waiting. So George Scribner, born September 28th, 52, is an artist, director, and animator whose credits include 88's Disney Animation Studios, Oliver and Company. Here it is. Scribner was born and raised in the Republic of Panama, one of your people.
Yeah.
And he went to Emerson College in Boston, and then he moved to LA, worked at Hanna-Barbera Productions, Walt Disney Animation in the mid-80s, Oliver and Company, The Prince and the Pauper, starring Mickey Mouse, and then working on numerous other features. He was originally going to co-direct The Lion King, and then talks a little bit about his paintings. But yeah, he's done quite a bit of work. He worked on an American Pop too, Heavy Metal.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, he worked on the, what is her name, Tarna segment?
On the Tarna sequence. Yep.
Tarna, wow, that's cool.
But the thing is, like, he's not that proud of Tarna. I can tell you.
Does he see all of his mistakes?
No, the Tarna sequence is rotoscope, so that's not really animating.
Oh.
So that's why I was like, yeah, I work on Tarna, but that was like very robotic, you know? And that's the thing. Like, I appreciate heavy metal, but there's a lot of rotoscoping in it. So as an animator, I just go like, yeah, that's nice. But I wouldn't say like, oh, it's a masterpiece. As if I see, for example, the Dover Boys, the short by the Warner Brothers short. It's not that really famous, but it's like the best animation out of Jet Clampett ever, and it's weird.
And it's weird.
It's weird, dude. Like, check it. Like, look it up. Like, Warner Brothers, the Dover Boys. It's like, just like three college guys that are courting a girl, and then they fight with a dude.
I liked his painting. His painting kicks ass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Can you make it a little bigger? Yeah, his paintings are really amazing. So this is the Panama Canal, right?
Yeah. He was commissioned by the Panama Canal to make a series of 10 paintings, and I think they paid him in children's blood, man. It was a lot of money. He told me, but I forgot. It was, and the thing is, like, everything is just hinted. Like, none of the shapes is really like defined, but you can tell like that's like a lifeboat. You kind of like tell it's people, and it's all done with light.
Those paintings, you got to kind of step back, and then it just kind of like it puts it together. It fools your eye. That's a lot tighter than it is. There was a few portraits I saw of like Walt Disney and stuff that he had done, and he does people exceptionally well at.
Oh yeah, I got the. Here's one of the Canal at Night. Let me open this in a new tab.
But yeah, you guys, believe it or not, we had him on a Pontificators, and it was one of the high points of the show, I thought. And that's in the back history. So if you guys want to see that, we were all on our best behavior.
Oh yeah, even Aaron Lopresti made a. I don't think Aaron likes me because I kept calling him Mr. Lopresti.
Yeah, Aaron doesn't like anybody.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing. Like, I had a teacher called Mr. Lopresti, so to me it was really hard to call him Aaron. It was like, "Hey, Mr. Lopresti." It's like, "Hey, call him Mama."
Not Mr. Lopez, Mr. Lopresti.
Mr. Lopresti. Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. Like Disney. I liked all the old Disney stuff. Because like production art, and even like when they were building the park, they would do concept stuff like this. Like they would do quick concepts that were like kind of out of focus, and they were just kind of just shapes and colors and things like that. But they're gorgeous. And the thing is, like, I've seen some of the stuff that's coming out of Disney now, and it's all like digital kit bashing. You know what I mean? It's like cutting and paste. They're like finding objects like, oh, here's a street pole, and they'll bring that in, or here's a group of people, and
it's
then
all graphic design clip studio. It's
that's the thing. Like this thing in the Disney like production pipeline, this would be called a mood palette. So they will do different paintings to set the mood. Like for the Lion King, like what colors are we going for? Oranges, ochres, magentas, and that define the tense of the movie.
As far as color direction, there's two movies that I think animation-wise are absolutely fantastic. One of those is Lion King. Like the movie's okay, the animation's great. It's Disney, right?
Yeah.
But the color design in that movie is absolutely fantastic. And the other one is DreamWorks' How to Train Your Panda, the first one. It's not
How to Train Your Dragon.
No, what was it? Panda was the one with
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
You're mixing them.
I'm trying. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's what.
Yeah, but the thing with Kung Fu Panda, what makes it very, very characteristic of that movie is that they had a lot of references from Chinese documentaries. Because if you see Kung Fu Panda, it's almost like a Technicolor quality to the film, because that's how the Chinese documentaries look like. So how the Reds look, especially how the Reds look in that movie, it's very characteristic. It reminded me of those documentaries.
It was also just the mood setting. That's like with Lion King. The best part is they were using color to tell the story. Like so, there was definitely this. It was just a great color design, and that first Kung Fu Panda was the same for me, and it was a decent story. They got, what was his name that was in Big Trouble in Little China, the little Asian villain. That
actor. Lo Pan. Yeah, but
I think they had
Martin Wong.
I think so. He did the voice of like supposedly the dad of
he was like a stork.
You got a question in chat.
Okay. Is this it here? The pork hunt?
Yes.
RT Bear, is the Waz ever coming back? Want the Penelope powerhouse so badly? You know what? Sadly, he has kind of fallen off the face of the earth. I have tried to contact him at least 5 times. I just wished him Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year recently, and still no reply. So I'm not really sure what's going on with Chris. He was a great part of the show. I really enjoyed hanging out with him, but I don't know. Did he ever fund that? Was that ever funded, the Penelope powerhouse, or was that just kind of he was pitching it? I don't remember.
I think he was. I don't think it ever got to the funding stage. Maybe he got to the sign-up stage.
Yeah,
maybe you're right. Yeah. Because he had the trailer and everything for it, but that's all I remember.
Yeah, it was cool too. Yeah, they had voice acting in it and everything. So, yeah, that's it's a bummer. I always liked all the technical internet problems. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe he did get frustrated with his internet where he was always going out and messing up. So
I have a little bit of not insight, but he had that lawsuit against Warner Brothers, and he was kind of he was making it very public. He wasn't giving details, but he was letting people know. So one of the things is like when you make a to-do like that, and you don't win, you kind of feel like, I don't want to show my head in public right now. So, so maybe some of it's licking wounds, maybe, he's trying to recover from it because he did. I mean, because he told us stuff, in the green room and things. And from what he was saying, he had a very strong case and they definitely did rip him off. But you know what? These companies, all they have to do is prolong.
Yeah, the inevitable. Yeah,
the battle.
Yeah, but you know what?
Watch you bleed out. Watch you bleed out.
Just maybe he won, and right now he's in a yacht in the Bahamas.
He had to sign an NDA saying he lost.
He lost,
but he actually won, and he's on an island right now.
On an island right now, surrounded by ladies from Turk and Caicos. Like,
he's looking down at us right now, going,
look at those peasants screaming.
Yeah, he's smoking $100 bills.
Well, his girlfriend was a big designer that he was assisting anyway, so he might have just been like, hell, let's be her assistant for a lot more money, and he's happy doing that. I mean, if my wife was like, hey Rob, this is what I'm going to pay you if you'll be my assistant, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm there. I'm there in a second. What are we doing? I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
You're going to be a dog groomer.
Make photocopies? Oh, at this point, it wouldn't matter.
Making copies.
You're going to pay me how much?
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay you anything, but I'll let you live here for free.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That's like you have full access to the fridge. How about that?
Yeah. I'm still in.
It's interesting, but yeah, I mean, we do miss the Waz, Chris,
Waz dude, yeah,
and he did bring a lot to the show. So hopefully, after he spends all of his millions and gets off his high horse, he'll be back.
Oh yeah, like he gets like in a Bahamian casino scandal, and then he's back with us.
We see him in some kind of news clip.
Yeah, it's like
it'll be a crypto thing.
Yeah, with the little bang music. Oh man,
there is something about that guy. I forget the guy that he produces all those Batman things.
Uslan.
Is that his name?
Michael Useless. I mean,
Uslan. Yeah. There's something about him that does irk me.
I did meet him. I met him when he was helping rep CrossGen.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we actually were at one of those sports bars where he's got to play nice and pretend he's listening to you.
Right.
And I was there with Andy, and I made some joke about puking. And then Michael Uslan just kind of looked at me, and then he wandered off. And Andy goes, well, that was great. You just scared him away. And I go, Andy, what do we have in common with this dude? Yeah. I go, he was smart enough to get the movie rights to Batman in the 70s or early 80s. And he's going to make as much money as he possibly can. Yeah. And I even asked, I go, why is he even here for CrossGen? And someone quietly said, probably because CrossGen's covering his office fees. Because it's not like any of those movies were ever made. So
right.
And then CrossGen died, and Disney picked him up for like $1 million, all of CrossGen's rights.
Let me ask you, how long did CrossGen exist?
Not very long, maybe 4 years. I like how I put 5 up, but I say 4. I was there for 2 years. I got there in May of 2001, and it was already, hey, do you need a check this week? In the fall of 2003. So that's when I left, because I'm like, this work is too hard to do it for free.
Yeah, it's starting to smell.
Yeah.
Well, let's give a big welcome to Art of Dominique. Hello, chat. First time viewer. Hope you all are having a great start to the new year. Yes, we are. And right back at you. And welcome Welcome to the show. I remember whoever that guy that was that led that thing and put it together. He pitched it to me early on, and he's like, "You move to Florida. We'll set you up with, I guess, a cubicle. Here's your page rate, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, is it creator owned?" He said, "Oh, yeah, definitely creator owned." I go, "So I can create my own stuff?" He's like, "No." And I'm like, so then what is it? And I think he said, like, did he create those things, or did he have friends that, because those were like his creations, weren't they?
They were him and his cousin, who was a big comic book fan. They like kind of came up with loose ideas, and then obviously the professional comic book writers who they hired tweaked everything, turned them into like actually comic book style stuff. But Chuck Dixon actually says that the initial thread for all the characters, he actually thought the Avatar type stuff was a great idea. He says that the death of Crushin was that they didn't ever cancel a book. Because Chuck's like, he goes, the idea is if the book's not doing well, you cancel it, and hopefully you're going to create something that's better. Because the first 4 books all sucked. But the next grouping of books, which Mark and his cousin had less, they really didn't have any influence on. And it was actually great. Those were a lot better, and those were much more successful. But because they kept carrying on the initial books that were terrible, it always the impression people had for the comic books and what Crushin was kind of dragging. It was like this giant anchor. And then as Mark spent more money, his relationship with retailers at conventions would get more and more agitated. So
yeah, it seemed like he was throwing a lot of money. He had a major overhead. So I didn't really see too much of a future early on. And if I couldn't create my own thing, then I could
why bother? Yeah,
image or just do my own thing. So, and also, we had just bought the house in California, stuff like that. So it didn't make much sense to leave.
No.
I think like some people thought it was genius, and there's others that didn't. And I think I'm somewhere in the others where it was one coherent universe, right?
Yes.
And they all kind of interchanged. But the thing is, they didn't have really one hit per se to spawn the other ones.
No, they just here's 4 ideas. We're going to launch them no matter what.
Right, and they could all be crappy ideas, So,
yes.
So the thing is, the universe, there was never any real standout success at the beginning. So I always thought like the best thing, even for Marvel or like the DC stuff moving forward, like James Gunn, just do a good Superman movie.
Yeah.
Just do a one and done Superman movie. If it does well, you can always build a universe off of that.
Yes.
You don't need to have it going in. Just make a good movie, have it become the biggest success ever, and then build a universe after that. But some of these guys are like they're running before they're even crawling. You know what I mean? They're like, let's go all in, man. We got this whole universe. We're gonna get all these superstar talent in here. We're gonna throw a bunch of money at it. And it's just
you know what? I think that's a cocaine problem.
It could be.
I mean? Yeah, it's like, hey, you got Superman. Okay, we got Superman. But we got to put Green Lantern in, and we need MODOK. Dude, MODOK's Marvel. I don't care. Like, it feels like that. Like,
well, with Croshen, when I got there, they'd already expanded a couple of different times with lines. And you could you walk into this big space, like Art just said, with all this overhead. And when they told me that they initially only started with the 4 books with the 4 teams, it's like, then why do you have this big office space?
Yeah.
There's a difference between planning for expansion and,
wasting money.
Or like CrossGen did, where from day one, this is our massive expenses. We don't need all this space, but we have all this space to expand. And you're like, yeah, but what if things don't go well?
Yeah.
What if things only go mediocre? If things go mediocre and you don't have a giant space, then your costs are going to be a lot less. And they never, I also, Mark, the business plans that he set up, where he could lose $2 million a year.
Hmm.
And then the stock market crashed in 2001 and his net worth dropped by half.
Wow.
So if your
Mm.
net worth drops by half, then you immediately cut your business model by half. He didn't do that. They still went along with the same business model.
Mm.
Yeah, he kept sinking money in and not
Yeah.
adjusting. And the thing is, too, like, Jim Lee over the La Jolla, offices, he was purchasing that space.
Yeah.
So his rent was going into real estate. I always thought like Rob was renting at the Disney casting building. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so when the shit hit the fan, he had no assets. You know what I mean? Like he sunk all that like $1 million a year or whatever in rent. It was just gone.
Yep. Exactly.
So I always thought like CrossGen, it didn't make any sense to me because I don't think he owned that land. I think he was
No. He was renting office space. He wanted to build a building, but
Of course.
it's also CrossGen was, like you said, they tried to get you. They tried to get the image guys in the beginning. They tried to get Dave Finch. They tried to get you. They tried to get a bunch of other people. And when they couldn't get those people, instead of readjusting their business, then they just went for a bunch of DC guys. So then it was all the whole look of the whole CrossGen universe was very DC. I mean, if you looked at everybody that they hired, it was, and that's not a negative. That's just the tone of what the artwork was. And I remember like when I came in, I was like, why did you guys hire me? I'm trying to do like Joe Weems' Top Cow art team, and it's a bunch of DC artists.
Yeah, just do something different. Yeah, well, that's also there was no real identity. Like CrossGen didn't have an identity. Like Image Comics had an identity.
Yes, yes.
CrossGen did not. So they suffered of a lack of identity. It was kind of like an idea that wasn't real sound to begin with, and also just back on the space. Like the only time I've really heard where you can lease space and all that stuff, it's like that's what Hollywood people do, right? They're like on Beverly Boulevard or whatever. They're in Burbank, and so they lease a space so they can look like players. You know what I mean?
It's all for show.
Yeah, it's all for show. But what's the show in Florida? You know what I mean? Like who are you trying to impress in Florida?
Fake it until you make it.
Florida. But you know what I mean? There aren't a lot of like movie power players or comic book power players, in Florida. So it's just kind of like an inexpensive place to conduct business. But ultimately, who are you trying to impress? Where it seemed like they could have just did it like Marvel or DC and just did it freelancer, right? They didn't need the office space at all.
Well, but then the boss doesn't have people to boss around. He doesn't have people to create with. Now it's just conversations, and how quickly is it just the writers controlling the books,
right?
Versus when we were at CrossGen, Ron Mars would be getting called into the office to talk about the direction of the books like every day. So he wanted a hands-on approach so he could influence all those books because it was all his money. It's also the timing was really bad. The timing was Marvel was just getting back to heroes and getting a big push. This is our heroes. These are our superheroes. Now we know that they had to push those big heroes because they didn't have the movie license rights for X-Men and stuff.
Right.
So they were pushing Avengers and Captain America and Iron Man, but they were pushing all those characters, not pushing the anti-heroes. And then CrossGen comes along and says, well, we're not doing superheroes at all. And Marvel's like pushing superheroes to the roof, to the moon. And CrossGen's like, oh, we're not doing superheroes. And you're like, what? What do you
and that like okay, the idea to be contrary to whatever it is, it's like, well, yeah, you're taking a big chance, but also traditionally those type of books don't sell well. Like you have a history of like sword and sorcery or whatever it is that you're trying to tie into, Westerns or whatever it is. Those books just don't do that well. So you're also building a template on stuff that doesn't traditionally do well.
Yeah,
so
it only sells a certain level.
Yeah.
And I used to talk to Mark all the time and go, Mark, I would always say, we aren't selling to fans. We're selling to retailers. You sell to fans when the books are in the back issues. or you reprint the books. We're selling to the retailers. I don't give a crap what the fans think. This is about retailers. And, he would just kind of give me a look, and other people in the cubicles would give me a look like, what's he talking about? I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is a brand new company. And this is how distribution of comic books work. We're selling to retailers. You have to convince the retailers. Otherwise, retailers might sell out of a cross-gen book, but they only ordered 10 copies. And they're not gonna order more than 10 copies next month because they're ordering Wolverine and Spider-Man and
Yeah, exactly. Let me take this. This is Stealth X5 for $2. Thank you so much. Hello, just giving me $2 to say hi. So right back at you, Stealth. I hope you're having a good 2025. This is going to be our year, baby. We're going to kick some major ass in 2025. I feel a change. Brewing in the world. But let's see. Rob, have you ever had like a mentorship type of situation in your career?
Only, honestly, when I was at CrossGen. A lot of guys, Bart, a lot of guys helped me out. So Bart was a big influence on me. And to be honest, now with live streaming, Andy's always given me tips on crowdfunding and live streaming and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's who were my favorite inkers, who were my favorite pencilers. I have these comic books. So Art T-Bear, Scott Williams, Tim Townsend, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Art Adams. That's
what year did you break in? When
95. So
okay, so maybe some of the mentoring was kind of dying out by then, because I'm trying to think like, getting into the 90s and stuff. I know I was on a different level at that point, so it's kind of harder to mentor somebody that's been in the business for 10 years already. You know what I mean? Like it seems strange. Like, so maybe it was some of that. Because I don't know, because I wasn't in that situation, but I broke in early 80s. And so Marvel, if you were in the office, there was Ramita Raiders, so Johnny Ramita Sr. was there hands-on. And so they were doing art corrections and stuff, but they were also getting art lessons. You know what I mean? So they were getting mentored right there in the offices.
There was still production. There was still production when I went into Marvel.
Okay.
But to be honest, I lived in the boonies of New York State. So I would go into Marvel twice a year just to try to get work or talk to a new editor or something. So there was no, I know I showed my stuff to Ken Branch. He was an inker, and he actually put in a good word for me at Malibu. And he just would look at my stuff and go, well, it's really sharp. Your inks are really sharp. Like, that's what he would just say. He goes, everything is sharp. Everything is edgy. Critiques you get at conventions, would be the only like outside influence I would ever get.
Well, I started, I got hired by Jim Valentino. He was doing storyboards, animation storyboards. But he was kind of doing some comic book work on the side, so like Normal Man, things like that. And so we were all Orange County, California guys. So I saw Brian Murray's name come in the chat. So it was like Brian Murray, Rob Liefeld, Jim Valentino, myself. So it was kind of that Orange County thing. So we just kind of, since we lived close together and we all had this similar likes, we kind of just were there. And
did Brian do storyboards? Because he always had that like almost Neil Adams type of rendering.
He later, I think, did advertising storyboards.
Okay.
So he worked for like what was it, Fantastic Frames and other people. I did some stuff with Fantastic Frames as well. But when I actually met Brian through a teacher. So I was taking night courses at the local JC, and so that teacher knew Brian. And so he picked up on it, like in life drawing stuff. He goes, everything you draw is very heightened. I go, what does that mean, heightened? He goes, it's perfect. Like if you draw a person, the flaws and the things that kind of make them not so attractive, somehow you're able to not do that. So when you draw somebody, even in live drawing, you make them look better than they really are. I mean, you can tell it's them, but it's heightened. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, it's kind of like comic book art. And I was like, yeah, I love comic book art. He goes, well, I have this guy, this old student of mine, Brian Murray, blah, blah, blah. And so he got me in touch with Brian. And so Brian was working for Continuity with Neil Adams.
Okay, yeah. that makes sense. That
right, and he was doing that megalith. Is that what the name?
Yes.
The big muscle guy.
Yeah,
and
the
so
Perfect Man or something like that. Or
yeah, so he was working on that, and I was at the time I was huge Neil Adams guy. So I was like, I just latched on to Brian. Brian was living with his folks in Fullerton, you know. So we were all just starting out, and so he had little scraps. And so I would just collect his scraps and I'd throw some ink on them and just do stuff, try to learn from him. And he was a pretty good mentor at the time. And then I got work in advertising and illustration. So he was doing comic books, but I was working as an illustrator in Hollywood. So I worked for Bridge Publications. They print all the L. Ron Hubbard books. You know, they worked with Frazetta, all that stuff. So I was doing that kind of sword and sorcery, kind of fantasy sci-fi illustration for them. And so I actually got Brian work there. So he did some spot illustrations for one of the L. Ron Hubbard books or something like that I was working on as well. And so then Brian turned me on to Jim Valentino, who needed some help.
How much of a culture shock was it when you get paid a certain amount for a spot illustration and then you go to the comic book world and you have to draw an entire page?
Dude, even in the day, I think I was making $700 for a spot illustration.
And then the comic book page is what, $80 at the time or something?
Yeah. You draw half a book and then you make 700 if you're lucky. Yeah.
You're like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
And just to be completely honest, comic books isn't even where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to work in illustration, not so much advertising. I knew advertising paid very, very well, like too much, but I didn't want to do that because it's soulless work. I think Pedro's done stuff like that in the past. It's just soulless. So I wanted to do something more creative. And all my background, my teaching that I was learning was all illustrative. You know, like what's the guy who did all the movie posters? I was kind of working in that style.
The painter, right?
Drew Struzan.
Yeah.
Kind of Drew Struzan was the guy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also mentored with a guy named Corey Wolf. And he was doing movie posters and ads and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised how much money Hollywood throws at poster design and stuff like that will never see the light of day. This guy made a killing and never had one poster ever used, one design. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. So I would cut frisket for him. I never got to shoot airbrush, but I'd cut frisket for him and do just little production things like that. But then, yeah, Jim Valentino was a true mentor because like perspective, I remember asking him how it works, all that stuff. And he used to, when I worked with him on the boards, he taped flaps on the 11x17s. So he would find the vanishing points.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of times they're not on the board, they're beyond the board. And so, there would be a dot out here. And so then, when I get to work, I could just take these off and I go, oh, okay, this is how it works. So he showed me the basic mechanics of like eye level, vanishing points, all that good stuff. So most of the perspective education I got is from Jim Valentino. And then, storytelling, and then also just ethics on how to be a professional in the industry. Because I remember once we were working for Apple Comics, which was the Elf Quest. It was the pennies.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I can't say anything really nice about them because they still owe me money. But
I don't think you're gonna get it.
No. They probably owe me I think an advance or back end money for 2 books. I think that was $800 each. So they owe me like $1,600. So pay up, Wendy. Come on. And so anyway, they weren't paying us the back end. So I asked Jim, I said, let's just not turn in the rest of the pages. Let's hold the pages hostage until they pay us. And he said, you can't do that. And I said, why? He said, it's unethical. And I said, it's also unethical for them not to pay you.
Yeah, unfortunately, they'll talk more shit when they talk about you. The everybody will listen, and when you say that you didn't get paid, nobody listens.
No,
unfortunately, that's how comic books work. Yeah.
So he told me, he said, you don't do stuff like that in the industry. You said you're going to finish the book, and then just it's on them. So whether they pay you or not. So they stiffed us on 2 books, and then we quit after that. So that's when I went to the mainstream, because I had heard that at least Marvel and DC pay regularly, right? You don't have to beg for your money. You know what I mean? Like it's a guaranteed paycheck kind of thing. And so I was out on my own. I just needed that guarantee. So I put a portfolio together, and then went towards Marvel and DC. So, but Jim Valentino was a big mentor. He really did help out a lot. And it's funny because you look at Jim's work, and some people could just discount it and go, oh, it's just kind of these silly, kind of goofy, cartoon characters or whatever. But the thing is, that guy really knows storytelling. He knows comic book storytelling. He knows all the basics of drawing. And I didn't really know that. I had like a superficial look, but I didn't really have a deeper understanding. And after my mentorship with Jim, I was way better than I was going into it. And I almost feel like I owe Jim money.
One of my favorite comic books is What If Wolverine Was an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? And Jim did the layouts, Rob Liefeld did the pencils, and then Scott Williams did the inks on those.
On the cover, he did the whole book, huh?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. He did everything. Yeah. Jim did layouts.
I remember that Rob Liefeld Wolverine cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got like the zip on it and everything. Yeah, it was really cool looking.
Oh, that was when Marvel would, anything that was cool, they would make posters out of and T-shirts out of, and they made like 2 different T-shirts out of artwork from that book.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff, man. And so Jim also worked with Rob, because we were like the young punks. Rob a little younger than I, and so Jim was like the old grizzled vet, So I sometimes think about what my life would be like if I never met Jim, or even Brian Murray. So I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be unemployed right now.
Could you imagine how much farther Jim's stuff probably would have gone if he just found himself a finisher, because he knew so much about constructing the figure and layouts and storytelling and everything, and just let someone else pretty it up?
Yeah, I have a strong feeling, and I could be completely wrong here, but Jim also knows his value, and he has pride, right? So
yeah,
I don't think sometimes, even though we have weaknesses, we don't want to acknowledge it, because you just don't want, either you don't want to acknowledge it, or you don't want to give into it. You know what I mean? You don't want to
ignore it.
You think you always, it gives you a chance to always get better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You can always improve. You always can improve. Yeah.
And you don't want to give into it, because it can undermine your confidence.
Yeah.
So it might be a weakness, but you don't want to necessarily telegraph it to the world, because
especially in comic books, man, half of art is confidence. If you don't have the confidence to just draw, you'll end up redrawing and fix until it looks like a mess.
Yeah. Jim's Guardians of the Galaxy was one of my favorite series in the 90s. He was an idea guy. The reason that worked is I think the story ideas and the things that he was doing was pretty amazing. Crush, when he left for Homage or Image, I should say. Same was that with Dale not getting to finish Hulk 399 to 400. Yeah. And then,
is that what happened to Dale? He went to do Pitt.
Yeah. And so Jasper Plan 9, I think this is kind of what you're talking about, Rob, where it's like, that's what Jansen did for Miller. So like weaknesses, whatever, He kind of went in and filled in. But to be honest, there are pencilers that are like that, because Frank Miller's also a guy that every book is a different identity, right? So it's got a different take. So he works with different people, or he'll work in a different style. So I don't think he's one of those guys that's like, this is my style, I'm locked into it, you do it this way. I think he was open to the work relationship. So he would find people that did do what he needed, or he would do it himself. Because if you look at every one of his books, they're kind of stylistically different.
Yeah.
Working with Dan Jurgens was the same way, because people are like, well, how was it working with Dan? It was a dream, because Dan, at least maybe after working with me, he realized that he could draw the same way. Like, he doesn't have to change his style. He'll just get somebody that inks in a certain way that maybe is a penciler, or like at the very least has a specific look, to his inks. So then he would work with that guy, and so then that would kind of work with whatever the project was thematically. So I always thought Jurgens was a pretty smart guy, because he didn't really have to, not necessarily evolve, because his storytelling and things got better, but it was more focused on the one thing versus stylistic. And there are some people that just aren't really stylistic guys. Like, I think Mark Bagley kind of has a look, but I don't think it's kind of stuck in a certain timeline. You know what I mean? Like, he has to have somebody like Rob ink him, or somebody like me ink him, to kind of flavor it up. Otherwise, it kind of looks very standard.
It's almost, if you don't know anything about comic books and you looked at a Mark Bagley pencil drawing, you go, well, that's probably what comic books look like. He's just he is distilled it down to the very basics of, this is what needs to be on the page to be a comic book. And then, if an inker and a colorist can come along and juice up his stuff, then, all the better, to keep him, still working on the big books.
Right. Because they have a bottom line, they have, like, I think it's a smart idea to work like that, but everybody's different, like Bagley was open to interpretation, so he at least understood, like, this is what I do, but if somebody else that I respect comes in, then that's icing, right? So that can identify or give me a little bit of a different flavor, give it a different look. And I think also by doing that, you can have longevity in the business, because it's kind of like you're a one-hit wonder, or you have a certain way of, like, playing music, and so then it becomes a formula. But after a while, sometimes it can get boring, you know? And so, like, there are pencilers that are like that, where what they do is very, very good, but they never change it up. So, like, decade in, decade out, it's the same. And then after a while, the phone isn't ringing anymore, because they're not really, exciting people.
Yeah. That I remember at one point wondering, when was Dale Keown going to do something besides the Hulk? Just because everyone around him who was at that same level of success kept moving on to bigger stuff. Like, look at, like, Rob went from New Mutants to X-Force and then over to Image. And I remember thinking, where's Dale going? He's not going to just stay on the Hulk, is he? Like, and my friends were the same way. They're like, well, what would he do? Would he do like a Hulk-like character, or, would he do his version of Wolverine, or, just whatever? Like, that's kind of the nature of the business. Like, especially once you get hot, every project has to be bigger. Everything has to be bigger and better and more amazing, or otherwise, And I think
stagnate. Otherwise, you stagnate.
Yeah. And I think with Mark Bagley, he quickly realized he can keep the speed up and he can keep the storytelling up. Just bring in other people to, do whatever needs to be done. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So hold on. Let's do this. I'm going to share. I'm going to kind of go to my campaign quite a bit, because we. Let me see. Would it be this one? Would it be this one? Let me see. Hold on for a minute. I'm going to redo this so I can get it right. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. I'm going to present myself. Screen share.
Expose yourself. Yeah.
Expose yourself. Oh, come on again, Art.
Always. It's an ongoing thing with me in these live streams, you know. So you guys, this is Black and White Sins of the Father. Here is the video.
Sweet.
All right, you guys, no stagnation here. Nothing but action, adventure, robot battles. We got some supernatural aspects to this. We are also celebrating our 30 years. This book originally came out through Image Comics 30 years ago, 1994. It was a good year for comics. And you know what? 2025 is going to be even better. So you guys are, I am completely overwhelmed. I don't know where you guys are coming from, but you are backing like crazy. I was thinking we weren't going to get to this point till, I don't know, late last or tomorrow night. But we are headed to that 25K mark. And at that 25K, you guys will unlock another stretch goal. So that is very, very cool. Let me hit this refresh. So 334 backers, boom, 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 36. So we got
All right.
Yeah, we are 24. Yeah, to 14. So you guys keep the backing going. And we got a bunch of fun, cool stuff here. Sins of the Father. And we got the High Octane Adventures is back. So we have the artist writer with us right now, Pedro Eng. He is killing it on this. Look at these.
Working in it right now.
Oh, sweet.
As we speak.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah.
How dare you work making Rob and I look bad. So yeah, so this we originally we had volume 1 High Octane with Man versus Machine. That was the campaign before that, the very successful campaign before this. I think we did over 150K on that bad boy. So so it did so well, Pedro was like begging me. He's like, come on, Art, do another book, blah, 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 please. And I said, I guess. And so, yeah, that's what led to High Octane too. No, it was the opposite. Pedro's big time now. I had to beg him. And
he big timed you?
Yeah,
he
did.
Man.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Didn't answer the first couple voicemails.
So far from the truth.
Yeah. So Pedro is writing this thing. He's penciling it. He is inking it, and he is doing the color work. So he is the one-man wrecking crew, and it is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite things about this story is Pedro really likes Uncle Yi, and I do too. But Uncle Yi is one of those guys, like, will Uncle Yi sell a comic book, swinging a baseball bat? Can he really be a A-list character? Well, you know what? You guys are going to find out, because Pedro's got some killer stuff in store for Mr. Uncle Yi. And so this is going to be a lot of fun. Just kind of think Gremlins. With a real cool supernatural, not supernatural, but high tech aspect to it. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun, you guys. So back that. You can get that as an add-on as well. So we have 4 jaw-dropping covers. For most of the campaign, I've only showed you 3, but we dropped the D on you yesterday. So this is the John Malin D cover. So this thing is flying off the shelves, as the kids say. So come by, get your John Malin D cover today.
Get
You
your Jeff Malin D. Do
get
it.
the Malin D. Yeah, the big D. Yeah. So it's some people got the hint because because he draws the D man, sometimes. And so the D was one of the hints. I thought it worked perfect. Some people picked up on it, and those people are pretty damn sharp. So yeah, you guys, you can now get the D cover, and that is the John Malin cover. Let's see how many, because I think he had eclipsed poor old Carlo Barberi, which he got a brilliant cover there. But let's see. Okay, so Carlo is at 20. Oh shit, Carlo is bridging the gap now, and John Malin is at 29 claimed. This is not with the add-ons counted though, so there's a lot more of these Carlo Barberi covers that have been backed. When you take into consideration the add-ons. So then the biggest standout is this cover B, which makes my heart sing because that was a bear to draw, but it was definitely worth it. So that's 76 claimed, and then the main cover is 47. And of course, like the high octane, when you could get it yourself, it says 4 claimed. No. These things are selling like crazy with the add-ons. So you guys are doing your own combos and bringing in the high octane book there. And also we have other combos where you can get 1 and 2 of the high octane. So you can get Pedro's first comic book really ever. And then the second black and white high octane. And also you can get those comboed with the main cover, and you can get volume 2 of high octane, and of course it comes with the jam as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can get the high octane adventure, but really there's only 2 ways you can get volume 1 is the jam and with this tier right here, because we have to do them very limited. Wait, what did I do? They're very limited because we didn't print a whole hell of a lot of them. So you guys, the link is in the description. If I have any mods out there, if you could keep throwing some of these links in there, I would greatly appreciate it. Please and thanks. You guys are the best. And yeah, we are only 2 days out. So really this time tomorrow, we're going to be closing this bad boy up. So get in there now. It really does help with the total. So the higher we can get this total, the better it will be for the future of this campaign. So once again, thanks you guys for all the support. And this book is going to kick ass. I guarantee you. Every one of these stories, every one of these adventures is building bigger and better. The same with the high octane too. Right, Pedro?
Yeah, dude. The thing is, like, your book is looking so amazing and getting self-conscious. So I've been redoing a couple of pages. Like I finished a page and I'm like, no, not yet. So that's why I'm taking like my sweetest time. I'm on page 5 right now. I think you guys are gonna be pleased, man. Like Art and I had a lot of fun just making the body of the story, and writing it was really easy for me just because of those sessions. And it's a nice, short, compelling story with a lot of heart. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like the old Marvel one and done. It's like a 22-page one and done adventure. So there's not any baggage. There'll be a little bit of backstory, on things, but just enough to get you into the story proper. And I really love Pedro's style. Hey, Pedro, do you have any of those black and white animated things that you did? That one of just Reed walking, the first one you did, that's still, I absolutely love that. And then there's the action trailer that you did.
Yeah, I have those. Let me find them. You should have told me before.
I know, it's just a spontaneous thing. Now take your time. Well, we'll keep talking. Yeah, so here, just click Marcus's link. Go over there. If you like what you see, give it a backing. And actually, Rob, just real quick, what are you working on, and when will you have something to show?
Oh, that would be Death Raider 2. And it looks like this week I will be deciding on a printer for Death Raider 1. But I have, I think I have like 15 pages of inks almost done.
Wow.
Because I have 40 pages of pencils of the
Wow.
pencils and marker on Death Rider 2 are done. And now I'll start inking a page, and then I look over and go, oh, I'm doing the same texture on him over here, and then I grab that page and I start doing the same text. So it's not the best way to be able to keep track of production, but I'm having so much fun doing inks like that to try to keep a consistency. And also, like, when I figure out a new texture that I like, being able to just drop it on every page, because you know how it is, where you'll if you finish off each page, boom, 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 and then you might go, oh man, this looks really cool, and you're on page like 20, and you look back and you're like, well, it's not like I'm going to go back into the first 19 pages and add that or whatever. It's too late. So I've been working on a bunch of pages all at once. So probably next week I'll actually force myself to do the whiteout and do finishes on pages so I can start showing stuff. But I really don't want to start promoting Death Rider 2 until I can tell people, hey, 8 weeks, it comes back from the printer or whatever, 6 weeks, whatever the printer will give me for the estimate.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of two rules of thought. Like, you could get some like real early promotion going.
Yeah.
But also, the thing is, like, you got to build momentum. So if it's too early on and you don't have enough momentum to go like 3 months or whatever, then it's best to kind of wait. So it is really hard, because like there's things I want to show right now, but then you got to kind of sit on it and go, well, maybe there's a better time to show some of this stuff to help build some energy. It's just marketing and trying to sell. And the cool thing about it is we all approach things differently. And so some things that work for one of us might not work for the other, so on and so forth. And
I'm very, I'm not a multitasker. So if I'm doing this, then I'm not doing that. Right. And I realized, I wasn't making final decisions on Death Raider when it came to printer. I was working on Death Raider 2, but that's a disservice to the fans waiting on Death Raider 1. So I'm like, okay, bro, you got to, like, look at the different quotes, look at the different stuff, make a decision on Death Raider 1, and then you can get back to pages on Death Raider 2. Because once you make the decision, then, it's going to take weeks for it to come back from the printer anyways, which gives me more time to just focus on Death Raider 2. I think when I get to show, say, a physical copy, look, here's the physical copy of Death Raider 1. They sent it, from the printer. That's when I'm going to just start pushing, like, here's some of the artwork for Death Raider 2. And I had to show everybody all the artwork for Death Raider 1 just because it was a 2-year process to try to keep that momentum going. Yeah. It's not going to be like this where I'm going to have the 48 pages done. Well, I mean, I already have 40 pages penciled and markered. So I'm going to have this shit done. I'm going to have the work done fast where, like, I'm promoting it. It's coming out. Get on board or you're going to miss it. And that's just going to be how it goes, because I do want to be able to do that with every book I do from now on. I want to, squeeze that release time as fast as possible, where I'm just like, but obviously I have to learn all the ins and outs of printing and stuff. If I had a business partner who did all that stuff, I'd just be like, art story, and just be like,
Yeah. That's the way I approached the last campaign, was kind of compartmentalized, do this, then do that, then do this. But like this one, I realized that there's pros and cons to that. Like, creatively, I think it's better because you do all the pencils, and like you said, if there's like something that wasn't that strong early on or changed, then you can fix it in the inks, and then you can kind of move that way.
And I'm big at doing that, shaping pages and stuff. Yeah,
same. Yeah, I like working like that. But this one, I'm just trying to kind of do everything all at once, because also, like, I got 2 campaigns going right now. I got Oodles of Doodles, which is in demand, and then I have the live black and white Sins of the Father going. So I'm really trying. And then January,
Juggle.
Yeah, like January, February, March, like around March, I want to do the Hack Shack garage sale. So I have basically the T-Bear vault that has like I might have 100 books here, 25 books here, some like prints here, some like patches, some trading cards here. So what I'm going to do is there'll be very limited tiers, so it'd be like 25, Chrono Mechanics books. So once they sell out, they sell out, and then just put something else in its place, and then just keep doing that, for the 60 days, whatever, and just to try to keep things going. So there's always momentum, like people get used to coming and like, oh, what's for sale at Hack Shack now, what's going on here. So that helps too, that there, you have people kind of coming back versus just kind of waiting for a book for a year. So it's not easy, but I've learned my lesson, and that's the way I'm gonna move forward with it. And then just if I could find I don't know, 2 or 3 other like Pedro Angs,
two or three.
Yeah, I would.
Let me go to the Pedro Ang Island.
For you. What was that multiplicity? You just like do some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But here's some of Pedro's work. This is his animations.
Oh yeah, this is how I basically hooked art. Like I saw him on Dan Fraga's stream like a couple of years back. Of all the characters of everybody, I was like, "Ooh, I like those." So this is like a morning animation warm up. This is something I do every day. So I just picked Art's character and did a run cycle, which looks like this.
That cracks me up, man.
Very
the
simple.
Hair bouncing and everything. That's so cool.
Yeah, just 6 positions. It allows you to basically work with the overlap in action. Like the grenades are following the position of the hips, and that really conveys the weight. And if you want to personalize the run cycle more, you need more drawing. So this is like the 6 basic positions you do when you do a run cycle. But I do that almost every day. Like I woke up, drink coffee, I go, oh, this is like my warm up. So I did this a couple of years back.
What? Every time I see this, I just want to see some point of reference move across the screen. Well, it looks like he's going somewhere, because right now he's like on a treadmill.
Yeah, it's on a treadmill, but that's easy. Let me just. I can do.
It's so good, Pedro. I was so flattered when I saw this. I was like, I gotta work with this guy, man.
Whoops.
Oh, those are pieces, right? So you have some of them in pieces.
No, this is all like one drawing. The thing is, like, it's done in vectors.
Oh, okay.
But here I can do. Why am I doing lines?
Also, Pedro teaches me a little bit about Photoshop whenever we work together.
Oh, yeah. That's always fun.
So can you have that like go through the screen, like, and just repeat and go through?
Yeah. Let me just...
You know what I've learned about Photoshop?
What's that?
You hate it?
Shit. Telling me that my my video card isn't compatible.
Oh man.
Son of a bitches.
I hate Photoshop with an Indian passion. Like I just.
Oh, dude. $20 a month. $20 a month so it can yell at me and see my fast, super expensive video card isn't compatible.
And then what I hate about Photoshop now, because I had to get the new one. Oh, look at that! That's cool. That's so cool, man.
So yeah, but the things like I only have 12 frames here. I had to like duplicate the animation a couple of times,
right?
So I can have it like go faster. But I did a trailer for High Octane the first time around. Since Art didn't ask me the second time, I didn't make one. Like,
shit!
Oh
man!
Yeah, you never said it. You got to tell me these things, Art. Like I kind of mentioned it in one of our meetings. Like, you want a trailer? Like, you said, no, I already have one. Like, okay.
No.
So, and the trailer looks amazing. The ones you got looks amazing.
Do you have that, the High Octane one?
Yeah, it's right there.
It's like Whitney jumping like buildings and stuff, right?
Yeah, and re-shooting at the screen and stuff.
Yeah, I like your take on the characters.
Yeah, the other, it's, I mean, I'm sharing it.
Is that this one here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ah, the butterfly. Damn. God, this brings back good times.
Yeah.
Watch her twirl the the stuff. I wanted to use that chip way more. That's
Yeah.
a great design.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I learned how to work by myself, and that's like an anomaly in animation that doesn't really happen.
Yeah, you're
Like,
one man wrecking crew.
yeah, because normally, like, there's this guy who did like a really awesome, like TIE fighter against X-wing short, 7 minutes. That took him like four years to make. Man,
Yeah.
like, I had to come up with a way to make it commercially viable, so I can do this kind of projects in 6 weeks. But the look is a little bit compromised. Like, that's the thing. Like, I always tell clients, like, it's not going to look like a freaking movie because I'm working by myself. Like, if you wanted to look like a freaking movie, I need several months and a whole bunch of money. I was like, okay. So get people to understand that, like, but yeah, like, that's why I opened the school way back when, because I wanted to train people so we can come up with a unit that can work in the way I work. But then divorce took care of that. So
Oh,
yeah.
Pedro, have you messed with 3D model stuff at all?
Yeah, I hate it. I
Oh,
hate it.
okay. Because once you build that 3D model,
Mhm.
you already know how to animate.
Yeah. No,
You just-
I do that. I think I have. Wait, let me look. It's really old stuff, so
Yeah.
it's gonna look dated. But the reality is, like, I hate CGI. I did it because they were paying me money.
Mm-hmm.
But to say, like, I sit down and model and enjoy, have a good time doing it, no, it's just.
Oh
So
my
your
God.
studio thing didn't happen, Pedro?
What's that?
The studio that you were putting together, it didn't happen?
Oh, okay. So basically, uh, I have to accept that I went into a depression uh, phase, and everything fell apart because basically my uncle, my aunt, and my first cousin died that same year. My dog died, and I got divorced. All that all happened in 2014.
Wow.
And yeah, like, I had the school, like, I could keep it going, but I didn't see a reason to keep it going. I closed it. I lost, like, most of the equipment. I had to move out of my house. I was weird. By the time, like, my hair was like screwed on straight again, it was 2017.
Yeah. Oh,
So, like,
yeah. That happens really easy,
yeah.
man.
So it's like I had to start from zero again. And then I was teaching animation at this university called LCI, and the pandemic hit, and the university had to close for some reason. So now I'm out of the job. I started fighting with my girlfriend. I end up sleeping in my car for 2 days.
Oh.
Moved back with my parents, and then I found CG. And as soon as I found CG, everything clicked. Like, now it's my house now. Like, I'm not, like, I'm doing fine. So it's like a Pedro comeback, you know. So
Well, I'm glad you're super talented. I mean, I don't know what these campaigns, these black and white campaigns, would be without, you bring in the high octane.
dude,
Stuff.
I'm really grateful, Art. Like, I don't want to blow up smoke up your ass or anything, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity because I'm doing what I love now. And a lot of people can't say that. A lot of people like, oh, I'm at my job. I hate my job. Like, I don't say that.
Yeah,
This is
I love drawing comics and things like
yeah.
that as well. It's a blessing every day I get to do this, and
Mm.
actually CG probably, saved me in a sense because when you're on the treadmill at Marvel DC, it really just becomes. I used to tell my wife, it's like I'm just a freaking robot. That's all I
Yeah.
am. It's like I just go in the studio and it's just about being as proficient as possible.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just kind of honing the proficiencies so you can get things done
Okay.
on time. So you can hit a certain level and you can
Mhm.
get things done on time. And so that's really all I was for freaking decades, and it's soul sucking. It's soul sucking. It's not really creative anymore. And so then
Mhm.
just being able to write and draw your own comic books
Yeah.
is freaking amazing. I mean, it really is. And that there are people out there that support this stuff is even beyond that, because we really wouldn't be able to do what we do if it wasn't for like the people in the chat right
Yeah,
now
dude. The people in the
and the
chat, dude.
people that support what we
Mhm.
do. So I don't know. Do you guys have like another mentor story that we can leave
Well,
with?
actually, I'm sharing a very embarrassing video right now, which is
Is
like
this the monkey? The monkey?
my 2016 reel, and that CGI work. And I hate it, man. I hate it. This is for
Did you hate it because you weren't drawing and you're just posing?
no. The thing is, like the whole thing, modeling, rigging, it feels
Mm-hmm.
plastic to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not really art, and the fact that people who are not really artistic can do it too rubs me the wrong way.
Well, it's
You know
like
what I'm?
I've watched some of the modeling videos,
Yeah.
and I'm astounded by the detail and the manipulation of the
Yeah.
controls of the
Mhm.
computer. And
Yeah.
it's not even like I always thought that would be more shaping.
Yeah,
Like you would be
okay.
somehow shaping the
Mhm.
figures and stuff. And instead they're literally manipulating the cylinder. And
Mhm.
then they tell the computer, okay, it's a cylinder, but now it has gears on it. And then
Yeah.
like you're like, what the
I mean,
what the F are
What
you
it
doing?
is it's like the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
It's literally a puppet
Mhm.
that they're moving,
Mhm.
frame by frame, little inch by inch. And like Pedro said, it's not like those old guys, man. They were
Mhm.
drawing that shit out of whole cloth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you had to know what you were doing, because if you have a wireframe puppet, it's already there. It really
Mhm.
is. It already exists.
Oh, I was talking about the construction of that wireframe
Yeah.
puppet. Like
No,
that
but
gets
okay.
even
So
crazy
the thing is, like,
tedious.
there are
That's
different
even
approaches.
crazier.
Yeah, but Rob,
tedious and stuff.
there are different approaches to modeling. Like maybe what you were seeing was polygonal modeling, which
Mhm.
is basically just duplicating polygons and just sculpting
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Because
Right
it was like
now,
robot stuff. It
yeah,
was
right
robot
now
stuff.
you have tools that are basically sculpture tools. So you
Mhm.
can sculpt, and it's very like loosey goosey. But the things like when you sculpt like that, the polygons are all over the place, and
Oh,
if you put bones on that and you start
yeah.
moving it, things start jumping. So what you do is you sculpt, and then you do something called retopology, which basically it's orderly polygons that will bend properly once you
Mhm.
apply the bone. So you see there's a lot
But
of technical
it's all
stuff.
the programming. It's not the
Yeah.
animator. It's like it's all in the
Yeah.
programming.
Mhm.
So the
Yeah.
thing is, like, I saw something recent, and it literally looked like Nightmare Before Christmas. Like
Mhm.
the character was already proportional. It was
Yeah.
the character, and they were It was a simplistic version of the character, but it was basically the character, and they were just kind of moving it and all the nuance and stuff like that, and just to prove the point, I said it what's it, the other morning, that the old guys, those guys were artists, man,
Oh yeah, dude.
because they were creating stuff out of whole cloth, and they had nothing to rely on. And to prove that, this is the mentor thing, kind of
Mhm.
tight, is that those guys also had to be treated like superstars by Disney or Warner Brothers, right? Because there were only a
Mhm.
handful of guys that could do that on that level. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
studios had to treat those guys with respect. The Glenn Keanes, the
Yeah.
Mark Davis, the Eric Larsons,
But Art,
Ollie
Art,
Thomas.
even if you go before the Nine Old Men of Disney, We're talking like the 1940s. Like in 42, there was a huge strike, the Walt Disney Studios, and a lot of animators just quit. And and Walt Disney took notice because once those animators went, they went to Universal, they went to Warner Brothers, they went to Terry Toons, they went everywhere, and all the techniques and technology that was developed in Walt Disney Studios now belong to everyone. Actually, that the worst thing that happened to Walt Disney that year is that Universal Studios came up with a short called Peace on Earth, and that short won the Nobel Peace Prize. No Disney short has ever even come close to win the Nobel Prize. And it was directed by Dan Harmon, and Dan Harmon came straight out of Disney. So that's the thing. Like, people don't respect talent because they think we can be replaced by technology. And that's the thing. You see CGI movies; they all look the same because there's no.
That's where I was going with it. Like in the old cartoons, like those guys were superstars.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it wasn't like Tom Cruise or whatever you like household names, but people in the know knew that, and also the industry, more importantly, knew it, right?
Yeah.
But now, like, you see those credits, like with the digital cartoons and all that. There's like 1,000 names. You know what I mean? Because they're all just replaceable. They're all like the same person. So there isn't that type of like talent level anymore. And I know Rob knows that the comic industry was going this way too. It's like they don't want superstars anymore. They just want people that'll fall in line that they can control. And so with this new way of doing cartoons, they have that, right? There's never going to be another Glenn Keane. There's never going to be another Mark Davis. There's never going to be any of those guys because the studios don't want that. They don't want to be beholden to the talent. Just like Marvel, that's why the Image guys left, because Marvel wouldn't concede that just maybe Todd McFarlane was bringing something to Spider-Man.
Yeah, probably.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe the reason this book is selling 1 million copies every month is because of Todd McFarlane, and Marvel wouldn't concede it, you know. And so then those guys were like, "Fuck you."
I think I've asked you this before. Did those guys go to DC with the same type of deal? They were asking Marvel?
And I think they did it just kind of just for shits and giggles. I don't know if they were that serious about it, you know. But yeah, just to get another offer. Yeah. Probably more for an ego than anything else, because I think those guys knew on some level that they could do well on their own. And just to hedge their bets, they all tied it into their IPs prior. You know, Spawn, Spider-Man. It was right next to Spider-Man on the news rack. Youngblood, you know, Wildcats right next to X-Men, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it was very calculating. I think I heard Silvestri talk, like he was like, it wasn't that much of a risk, you know, like we kind of knew, we kind of knew that it was gonna do well, you know. And even if it didn't, you don't think Marvel would have had them back, you know, or had us back?
Yeah. Well, didn't Rob Liefeld pitch Teen Titans book for
Youngblood was Teen Titans.
Yeah, that whole time, and I mean, I saw all that happen from here, Panama. We were in awe, like, oh my God, Artist Rebellion. Like, I remember I was in college at the time, and I don't know, like, it always felt that to me. Yes, thank you so much, Atlas. Bourgeoisie. But that's the thing. Like, there was this like rebellious tee-hee-hee element to everything. Like, I don't know. That's how I felt from here. Like, I don't know. Or was that like that? Like, there's a little bit like tee-hee-hee. We're sticking our
there was a ton at Image. Oh, there was. Yeah. Like here. I think there was for me and a lot of guys, even like early Pontificator shows. If you guys watched those, like we were still trying to fix the industry. We were like, you know, like we were like, well, what if the industry just did this or that or the other thing? Like, and then we were always like, our minds were blown. Like, why are they doing this SJW stuff? Why are they doing this? Because they could be making comics that are selling. They could, you know, make, you know, interesting books. Why are they doing this? And so over a period of time, you realize they're doing it on purpose, right?
Mhm.
It's not like, oh, well, we just don't know what we're doing. We're a bunch of stupid kids. They're doing whatever they're doing. They're doing it because they want to do it, right?
Mhm.
So at that point, if you want to commit suicide, I'm not going to stand in your way. You want to do it, do it. I'm not going to try to save the industry. And also I can't anyway. I mean, that's a pretty big ego thing to think that you could save the industry. But, I make suggestions of pontificators. We would talk about it endlessly. And the thing is, I don't think the industry wants to be fixed. I don't think it wants to be saved.
They think they're just fine. Yeah.
The industry is always,
Mhm.
lots of outsiders have always looked at the comic book industry, and the first thing they said was it's incredibly underfunded. Why is there no advertising? This is a joke. Why does it keep trotting on the way it is? But the big guys realize you could buy Marvel or DC, you make a quick bucks on it, and then you sell it when it starts to lose money. And that's kind of how the companies like Marvel, that's how they've been used for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Buy it, use IPs, and then sell it.
They really want to sell T-shirts. They're not interested in making good comics. It's like, we have established IPs. People love it. Like a kid is always going to buy a Spider-Man plate or T-shirt or whatever.
Yeah. With Ramita Jr. or Ramita artwork, Spider-Man on it. Like we have all this artwork already. We have, we can make mugs for here to infinity.
Infinity mugs. Yeah.
Yes. So they don't really, at this point, I don't think they really care at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It was always about the licensing. It was always about the licensing. Marvel was a little different, but I know DC was more corporate, Warner Brothers, all that. So it was more about the licensing. And at the end of the year, it was a huge tax write-off. So if comics didn't make money, then Warner Brothers made money as far as a tax write-off. Marvel was different. Marvel was kind of its own thing. They did have a corporate, like one time they were owned by Revlon, and so there was corporate masters. But for the most part, they were completely removed from the process, right? They didn't care, and even Warner Brothers didn't really care what DC did. It was just about the licensing and then the write-off. But Marvel, for some reason, they tried to show a profit. They were a little bit more progressive as far as trying to get their books to be interesting, to sell, all of that stuff. So maybe they had more to prove to their.
Maybe they had incentives for the editors.
Yeah, probably.
There's bonuses
involved. They did, right? DC didn't, but Marvel did. Yeah.
Well, Rob Liefeld always talks about he knew DC was going to change when the comic book company got categorized in the same lines as the merchandise. When that new president came in, and she was a former president of merchandising stuff. And he says, we went from being in the talent side of Warner Brothers to the merchandise side. Everything's going to be different. And everything did change. I mean, it took a while, but all of a sudden forward royalties disappeared, all that type of stuff. It quickly changed.
Well, they were using words like lifestyle brand, like,
Oh, I remember.
Remember
like the X-Men cooking show they came up with for YouTube?
What?
The dumbest.
Yeah, I think it's clearly that they're lost. I think that everything that we knew, the way we consumed information, entertainment, everything is shifting and changing. Everything. So printed medium is, I mean, to be honest, and I'm not saying this as like to be like a negative, but I'm kind of surprised comic books still exist. And what Marvel and DC need to understand is the older guys are the ones that are keeping it alive. It really isn't young people coming in because, one, they're not making stuff for them. They're not marketing towards them, and they have no access to them. So the people that are keeping it going are people like us, right?
Speaking of which, Art, I gave a copy of High Octane and my own book, Tropical Magics, to two kids, 12 and 13.
Nice.
They're the kids of the drummer of Manawai Bands. The kids they are hooked on comics now.
Well, awesome.
It's not that they like. That's the thing I don't like about the industry either. It's like, well, kids don't like them. They don't have access to
They
that.
don't have access to it. Yeah.
You're already writing this off before you've even like done it. Like, yeah, there's kids in the neighborhood. Like when we moved here, I don't know why I didn't do this before we moved, but I would have like 20 copies of every book I ever did, or even more. So then what I did is just to scale back, I started like, well, I'm only going to have 2 copies, personal copies of everything. So I went and I did that, and I just had boxes and boxes of comics. So I literally walked over to the neighbor behind. I knew there was a little boy named Frank, James. And so I knocked on the door, talked to his mom, and said, would it be okay if James has these books? And she was so freaking happy. And then James has his friends in the neighborhood. So then their parents would be walking the neighborhood. I didn't even know who these people were. And they go, thank you so much for the comic books. And I'm like, but I didn't give you the comics. Oh, no,
wait, give it back. I didn't give it to you.
James gave some of the other kids some of the comics.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? So it started getting around the neighborhood. So at least the parents were happy. I never talked to the kids because that would have been creepy. So,
Art's handing out comic books. Here you go, little boy.
What do you want a comic book?
Yeah. Give me your honest reaction to this book. Yeah.
Yeah, like you see, I would like I'd appreciate a review, and then you just stand there and you're waiting for it while the kid's like, "What?" I would appreciate a review of my book.
I'm not even, and the kid's like, "I don't even really know what a comic book is yet."
What's the artwork behind you on the shelf? Yeah, behind you. It would be your left hand.
There you go.
No, there you go.
The other.
To my left.
Yeah. The artwork.
Your other left. Left.
No. He's got the right one up. No, Pedro, you're messing with him. That
right
hand.
Here.
Yeah. What is that?
This right here. That my finger is over.
Yes.
That's the Oodles of Doodles book. That's this.
Is it really? Oh,
yeah.
and what's the frame piece?
That I'll actually grab that. It's kind of cool. Hold on.
We lost Art. No.
He
falls out of his chair and hits his head.
We lost Art forever.
It's my Batman wall.
Oh.
So I got the Bat Cow. Can you see it? There's the Bat Cow there. And so this is, let me go full screen. I'm a big animation guy. So this is a
nice.
This is one of those cells that they scan down because it's taller than it is wide.
Yeah.
So it's from the Batman Animated Adventures. Yeah,
but that's an original cell.
Yeah.
Nice.
That would be a vertical pan. So,
yeah, exactly. A vertical.
Nice. Vertical
pan.
Vertical.
Not horizontal, vertical. Yeah. So that's the junk back there. And then the other one's that's my DC clock.
Oh.
Remember when DC? Where am I? Remember when DC used to give away cool Christmas presents?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Yep,
Before they got El Cheapo and
El Cheapo.
You'll be lucky if you get a Christmas card from them.
Oh my God!
Yeah. I knew they were getting cheap when the card said, and we made a donation in all the artist names to whatever. And I'm like, I'm not even getting like the DC exclusive holiday deck of cards, because remember that was one year where it was the deck of cards in that nice little wooden DC box. Yeah. I had that someplace in the pile.
One year, I think they had like a remote control Batmobile from like the Tim Burton thing.
Oh, I don't think I was working with.
They had the art bags. Did you ever get one of the DC art bags? Like the
no. I
shit, those things were cool.
I got T-shirts from them. I always thought it was cool when I got the DVDs. The DVDs of all the CW TV shows and the video game. Like they sent me. I didn't even have a PlayStation 3 or whatever.
They sent you a game and you didn't have a console.
Yeah, it was one of their latest video games. So what I had my wife take it to Target and she came back with a gift card from Target. Nice. So I just had it returned. I was like, hey, thanks for the $50.
Nice. Here we go. This is my first Christmas present from DC
Oh, that's
Comics.
awesome, dude! Wow.
Remember satin jackets when they were popular?
Nice. It
And
looks
look,
like
Like a varsity jacket, like.
Look at
the presents got smaller and smaller each year, though.
yeah. It's
If
got
that
my
was a jacket.
name. It's got my
Oh.
name on it. Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice.
So I remember seeing Marv Wolfman and Lynn Wayne with their jacket. I only wore this one time. Here's like the inside, and it was a career day at one of the elementary schools I went to, and so I thought, well, I'll wear this jacket.
That stuff is might be really collectible art.
It might be what?
Who's crying?
Wait, hold
Oh,
on.
It's the dog.
I got a Greek toy. Yeah.
Do you have any of the T-shirts? The comic book art T-shirts. Like hey, they reprint whatever cover you worked on as a T-shirt.
Yeah, I got boxes of those. Yeah.
No, dude, those are super collectible.
Are they?
Dude.
Yeah, especially the Marvel stuff. Like I got one T-shirt of Gambit #1 that Skrauss and I did. The dude paid me $100 for it. So Art, if Art has a bunch of that old Marvel T-shirts, if you have a bunch of those T-shirts that they turned into, dude, you might have like a box of like a brand.
I have boxes of them, like the Jim Lee stuff.
Yes.
Even Carlos Pacheco stuff I have. There was a Wolverine. I just did a pinup in Wolverine.
Yeah.
They made it into a T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So that was super cool. I think I did like a New Mutants. I guess they were there was Cable in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a pinup, and they made that into a T-shirt as well.
Think of how old those T-shirts are now. They're at least 20 years old.
It could be like 30 plus years old.
Dude, those are collectible. You could get $100 a T-shirt.
Yeah, so it's the 90s. It's
Yeah, you get like
early 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought about that. Yeah. I think I probably have 2 or 3 of each.
Oh,
I don't have a lot, but
I
could sell 2.
That you might want to put those in the when you said the
old auction
yard sale.
Oh, the yard sale, yeah.
Dude, put those T-shirts in there. I think you might be surprised by how much they go, how quickly they go.
Maybe I'll just because I've been thinking of just kind of messing with eBay. Just post. I've never sold anything on eBay before, but maybe just try it, see how it goes. What was Del Keown just sold? Was it on eBay? Like a Hulk pit, like crossover thing, piece of artwork. I think you got $11,000 for it.
Whoa,
nice. No, I didn't even see that. I did see they were reposting the Predator versus Hulk.
Oh, maybe no. That's what it was. It was the Predator. That's what.
Oh, did that go for like $11,000? Okay.
Yeah. It was Predator.
Yeah, when I saw it was only at like 3,200 or whatever.
No, it's quite a bit now.
Nice.
So I think it closed at 11 something, maybe close.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I did some searching for some of my old work, and what came up is what was it? It was a Nightwing piece of artwork I did for a retail poster.
Oh yeah, I remember that the pinup. Super famous.
I think it was like $13,000 or something.
Oh,
the pinup that never became a miniseries that should have.
Right, exactly.
Right,
yeah,
dude, right at the boom too. It was like the pinnacle of the boom.
It would have been. It would have been good. It would have been nice. I'm looking for where is it?
Art of Roy. That's a good idea, but I personally almost never go into a comic book store anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
And for them to even have my books, like go search through the art bins to look for my DC stuff from like 6, 7, 8 years ago or whatever. It doesn't really work. So, but when we do cons, I haven't done a con in a while, but when I do cons, lots of people, very excited to get photos and stuff where they're like, "Oh, dude, these prints are awesome."
Oh, that's another thing.
An Art Bennis print that I inked. So I'm like, Ed is awesome. Yeah.
That's
I miss
another thing. I've never done a con as a comic book artist.
Really?
Yeah,
You've been to shows though, right?
Yeah, but as an animator, like
Yeah.
promoting the school, or when Joe Scribner was in Panama, like hey, come with me. But I've never been like, hey, I'm Pedro the comic book artist. I've never done that. So
Cons are weird. They're stranger now because cons, unless you're Art or Dave Finch, they're like, yeah. You worked on something, that's great. Yeah, table's $300.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh man, you're not even going to give me a table for free. Wait, I got to cover my hotel, my flight, and my table. So
right, yeah.
That's why it's not really appealing to me. It's just
it's why I haven't done one in like 8 years now.
It's
or
like
whatever.
It's like paying to be recognized. Like, I don't know, man. It's just
for guys who have a big pile of artwork, then it works because they can sit and they can sell the artwork and have a good weekend. But I just to supplement my income when I was at DC, I would work on the books and then I'd go to MegaCon. I'd work on the books, then I'd go to MegaCon with all the artwork. So
I don't know, man. Like I supplement my income by doing Sprite for video games. Like that's basically like my mainstay right now. They give me their characters. They do me a run cycle. I need like a sword slash, a gunshot. It takes me like 4 days, and they pay me good money for it. And that's what I do. Like, oh, sorry.
Well, that's cool. I want to because this is a really short crowdfund. So this is a Cyberfrog 2, a Wreck Planet line art variants. So this is Ethan Van Sciver's new campaign. Let's watch the video.
That's a really good trailer, man.
My name is Heather Swain. Philadelphia has always been my home.
That's all hand drawn.
Life was good.
You could tell.
Until
I think Ethan did it himself. Color inks.
I'm friends with the cybernetic enhanced human-like frog created to save Earth. Nobody appreciated or understood him.
The Joyzy accent is awesome.
$1.1 million, you guys.
Wow.
We were good friends who enjoyed hanging out with a bucket from the chicken fry. Just me, Cyberfrog, and his very large brother, Salamandroid. Until the invasion hit. They rained from the sky. These space invader giant hornets attacked everyone, killing more than could stay alive, and covered the earth with giant blood honey hives. They can't fly near trees, so we hid in the woods, burning endless fires to keep them away, wearing red so they can't see and kill us all. The last time I saw Cyberfrog, he told me he'd track me down. But it's been decades, and there's been no sign of him. Yet I can't shake the feeling he is not gone. I believe he will return again. We need Cyberfrog and his brother Salamandroid to return and fight off these invaders, to take back our wrecked planet so we can live without fear. If you see my friend Cyberfrog, tell him I need him. We need him to save the world.
Right.
Cool.
This is Cyberfrog Wrecked Planet. Join the fight.
Yeah, you guys join the fight. Do it now. Ethan Van Sciver's a new campaign, 20,083, 153 backers. He's only 4 days out from closing this. From what I understand is once this is done, it's done. So 4 days, this is not going to go in demand or anything like that. So if you want to get some of these great covers, we got the Milkshake Girls reenactment here. We got God, it's just cool to see Ethan's line art, just the black line art. So much detail, you guys. So that's cool. I like the little hint of color with the logos. And then, of course, the Jay Lee covers. Wow. Absolutely fantastic. Jay is one of those guys that just kind of kept changing and improving. Yeah, evolving. And I think that these two covers are just the pinnacle of the mastery that is Jay Lee. So very good, you guys. I don't have a link. Maybe some of my mods can put this link in the description. So after you back Black and White, Sins of the Father, come by and get yourself a Cyber Frog variant cover. And also, I think we just got a few backers. So let me check. Black and White. And then we'll wrap this up. We're going a little long. I do appreciate you guys hanging out.
Rob's falling asleep.
I am. I get honestly, my glasses are just readers, so they're not set up for the distance the monitor is from where I sit. So I actually, it starts giving me a headache and it starts making me tired. So no matter what live stream I do, after like an hour, I'm already starting to take the damage from it.
Well, that you're old.
I'm old. Yes.
That's the best excuse I've heard.
How dare you are? How dare you, sir?
You know, that was a good excuse, Rob. That was pretty good. Right off the cuff,
awesome.
too. You just kind of made that up.
I don't go to bed till about 2, guys. I got chat saying it's past my bedtime. I go to bed pretty late. I work late, sleep late, but
too late. You sleep.
Now you're really late. You're really laying it on thick now. Let me hit this refresh. 336 backers, 337 backers
there
now.
You go.
24,249, you guys. Let's keep this going. I didn't think we were going to hit anything close to this till tomorrow, late tomorrow. So you guys are kicking ass. You're making this old man very, very happy. So let's keep it going. Guerrilla marketing is good. So you guys get the word out. Please X all your social media. Let them know that Black and White Sins of the Father Volume 3 is closing out. We're 2 days out from this, and we got that new D cover we dropped on you yesterday. That is the John Malin cover. So back that. You can get that in its own tier or as an add-on. And also we got Pedro Eng's own the High Octane book. So you can get High Octane 2 in its own tier or as an add-on as well. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Rob, for coming in. It was a lot of fun hearing about the CrossGen days. And Pedro, I'm just a big animation fan. So any talk about animation, I love it.
Actually, you know what? Since you made me look at my old files, I found a series I directed in 2010. But I mean, we'll leave it for another show. But it's like a rock band played by endangered species animals.
You know what we should do, Pedro? We should just do an animated stream. Just do it.
Actually, you know what? Like the thing is, like I'm always been hinting about making like an animation school channel. That's happening next week.
See, that's what I was alluding to earlier. That's what I was thinking that you meant by school. So that's what you. So that other thing, you had an actual school.
I had a physical
2017
school.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
This is the new stuff. Okay.
The new stuff. It's going to be called the animation bones, because we're going to go back to bare bones, to what animation is. Everybody gets lost in what software you use. That doesn't matter. Animation is animation, and whatever software you pick up, you're going to apply the principles. So that's what we're going to be doing starting next week. Next Tuesday is going to be the first class. And Thursdays is going to be en español, because I can do that too. So,
Art, you got a question?
Yeah.
What's the question?
Art Tiber, any reason you have only one interior page on the campaign? Is it special?
There's 3 interior pages on the page, and then there's 3 for High Octane as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like are you selling one of the pages or something? Is that what they're asking about?
Oh yeah, there is one interior for sale. Yeah. And if you guys want others, just let me know. I can make those available. If there's like one of the pages that you've seen already, and you want it, just let me know. I can give you the hookup there. But yeah, I have this. You guys can see this. This is a new page.
Oh, dude, look at that.
So this is what you guys can expect with the interiors of Black and White Sins of the Father. We got swamp zombies coming in. You guys have been calling this guy Indiana Jones, but he's actually got a name. His name's Bill Gaines, and he's probably not going to make it through the rest of the book.
You don't want to get Art sued. Calling it Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Come on.
Indiana Jones.
I've heard that name before. It's probably big money behind that. Lawyers just waiting to drop.
Just for Disney to ruin it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Now you are getting sued, Art.
Oh, no. Slander.
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, slander. Oh, I have this too. I was working on this digitally. This is a commission. This is Aaron LaPresti's Kit Carson or no,
Kit Carter.
Kit Carter.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it digitally, Art?
I do parts digitally. I always do since the digital revolution.
But you can't sell the original.
This is just the layout. This isn't. No, this is just this is my little layout. This isn't finished work. So this is just kind of loose. There's some pencil in here. There's some ink going on here. There's some digital. You can see the real like solid blacks. That's all digital. But I just kind of come in and play with it digitally, augment things, and just have fun with it. So yeah, I'm putting this on the board. I got a little bit of time earlier today and did some actual drawing on it. But yeah, this is the layout. This is a commission. This is the last of the commissions for Oodles of Doodles. So if you guys ordered a commission, you should all have those with the exception of this order here, which is the Kit Carter.
Hey, Art.
Yeah,
I'm kind of out of the loop here, but David Williams has a GoFundMe.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. Yeah. I think it's public knowledge, but David suffered just a huge loss. He lost his wife last night.
Oh no!
So there is a GoFundMe. Let me see. I might be able to put the link in the chat because I posted it and I donated. But let me see. It's always hard finding stuff. Here it is. Gary Martin put it together. And yeah, here it is right here. So let me copy and paste it. I'll paste it in the description, you guys. So this is the GoFundMe. And like just strangely, the GoFundMe went up before she passed. And so, you know, we were
probably for bills, right? For medical.
Yeah, we were thinking because I think the GoFundMe said for hospice, she was going to be hospice care, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
So it's expensive, yeah. So apparently it didn't get that far, which is sad because, you know, you always want, even if it's not a great situation, you want more time with your loved ones. And
my wife keeps trying to put me in hospice, and I say I'm not ready just yet. So
not yet. Yeah.
No.
I always talk like everybody goes like Alzheimer's. I forget. I've always been like this. I forget everything, right? So I could have Alzheimer's right now. You wouldn't even know.
No,
so you're like the bane. You're like the bane of Alzheimer's. Like I was born. You're like.
Yeah. No, most creative people are just like that. We're all like that. We're super forgetful. We're in our own little bubble. We're in our own little world.
Exactly. My mom used to say, if it was something you cared about, you'd remember. Yeah. And I go, well, I haven't done anything I care that much about. So.
I'm always thinking about Wolverine fighting ninjas. That's what I'm thinking about constantly. That's 90% of my brain is spent on Wolverine fighting ninjas. Yeah. So,
well. What somebody say? I think Ethan Van Sciver says every once in a while too. Like, I think all of us have a little of the tism. We have all of us have a little bit of autism. What is it called?
Autism.
Autism.
Yeah, there it is.
Well,
Yeah.
there's different levels of it, and then there's like
Mhm.
there's another like the Burger or Van Burger or something, Asperger,
Asperger.
which
Asperger
is
spectrum.
kind of
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
different version of autism. I
Mhm.
think I know I pretty much have HD. I can't
ADD?
focus. Yeah, I never got tested, but my wife always looks at me and she goes, you definitely have it. So, which explains why I can focus on a page or I can focus on a comic book.
Yeah.
So,
Well, my
Yeah, I
last,
always say it's a gift and it's a curse, right?
Yeah.
Like we're using it as a plus, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yep.
my last girlfriend told me I am a narcissistic dick. So,
Oh, well, that's all of us too. That's just different. though.
yeah.
That's
So,
creative.
my dick is definitely narcissistic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the center of Art's world.
It's selfish. It's a selfish
Yeah.
lover.
It just wants what it wants, and it's got a huge
Oh.
head.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mushroom humor. Love it.
All right. Autism spectrum.
Yeah. That sounds like a boy band. Yeah.
What is that? Altruism?
Altruism. We're all very generous.
Altruism. We're all very generous. Yeah, you guys, we're starting to be silly. But thank you guys so much. Thanks for the super chat. You guys are the best. Everybody in the chat. We're starting to get a bunch of new people. I feel like I need to stay here for a while, but I'm getting very, very tired.
Yeah, let's not torture Rob anymore. He needs to go to sleep. He needs his blanket.
Yeah, Todd's
My eyes are getting tired.
My eyes.
So
Big.
My
tired.
eyes are raining. Yeah.
I'm just an old man. Hey, Artavory, I wasn't hyperactive, but if you try to have a conversation with me and you're talking to me about something specific, like you're trying to give me instructions, I will hear the first 3 words, and that's it. And you've already lost me. So
You know who else is like that? Bob Harris.
Oh, is he really?
Okay, when you call him in the day, right? You'd go, I need this, this, and this, right? Only one of those things would get done.
Remember the first
one you
The
asked.
first thing. It was always the first thing. So then you'd have to call back, and then you give him the other 2 again. And so then after a while, there's a definite pattern to it. So then you just go, he's only retaining the one thing.
God. Like a goldfish. Just like,
yeah.
So you
just give
just
him one
decide
thing.
what's the most important thing that you really
and
need.
you say it first.
And just tell them that's it.
Yeah.
And then the next day you tell them the next, and then the next day you tell them the third thing. And so it takes a little longer to get anything done, but it eventually gets done. So that's good.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Hey, thanks, Pedro, for coming in and
it doesn't have to be back, man.
Story. And Rob, that cross-gen stuff was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I held out a lot of hope for that company, but it just wasn't in the cards.
I did too.
Yeah, the inception was kind of damned at the beginning. It was not going to work.
It was fun. It was really fun while it lasted. I got to work with a bunch of friends. And we all liked comic books, and that was awesome.
Yeah. And you guys, back Black and White, Volume 3, Sins of the Father. Pick up the High Octane 2. That's Pedro Eng's new book. And pick up my main book. And we got 4 different covers. So pick up that D cover, which is the John Malin cover. And tomorrow night, we're going to be closing this bad boy, hopefully on Ethan Van Sciver's channel. Ooh. And until then, you guys have a great night. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye, everyone.